Tonight's special edition of College Football 85 takes you to the 1985 Holiday Bowl, Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego, California, where the Sun Devils of Arizona State take on the Razorbacks of Arkansas. The holiday mood is festive in San Diego. The anticipation of the season, as well as what seems to be the traditional fireworks that this bowl game has provided in years past, has set things up for what we expect will be a most entertaining evening. Hello, everyone. Eddie Doucette along with Kyle Rote Jr. And tonight you have a passing Arizona State team against a running Arkansas club with good defenses on either side of the line.
No question about it, Eddie. The last couple of years here in the Holiday Bowl, the teams have averaged 34 points and 26 points. I don't think we're going to see any of those kind of scores here tonight.
But Maya, these two teams evenly match. You look at total offense, you look at the defensive numbers, even almost up and down the line.
Very, very close game. Indeed, when you look at their situations, Arkansas is only 6 points away from a perfect season, and as everyone knows, Arizona State is only a field goal away from the Rose Bowl.
So who does the edge go to?
I think it has to go to Arkansas. Over the last 2 years, Eddie, they have never lost by more than a touchdown, and Kenny Hatfield has his troops ready.
And also, Arkansas has faced passing teams, but Arizona State very rarely faces a team that runs the ball. And we have some good quarterbacks today. One of the best is on the Arizona State side. His name is Jeff Van Raphorst, and he can put the football in the air.
Van Raphorst, right much more, Eddie, of the drop-back passer that you know. They use the wide receivers and they use the strong ends. Here's hitting Aaron Cox, one of his favorite receivers, for a long touchdown. That against USC.
Now he'll use a little play action fake right here, and we'll go to Cox again. Now Cox has got a bad hamstring, and his status remains in doubt right now.
Well, we've seen in earlier games here on USA that a lot of teams throw the tailback. They don't at Arizona State.
Dan Salamua, one of the finest defensive players at Arizona State, makes things happen.
The Samoan Stove. They also have another outstanding safety, David Fulcher, an All-American on many, many different selections. Fulcher has missed a lot of the preparation for this bowl game because he's been at so many of those All-American parties.
One thing we know, John Cooper dislikes mistakes immeasurably. He'll try and find ways to reduce it, and mistakes could just be the difference in this football game. Arkansas does not make many. Arizona State has made a couple of big ones, and it's cost them a trip to the Rose Bowl. They lost that last game by 3 to the University of Arizona. Had they tied or won, they'd have been up the road apiece. But they're here tonight, and they are going to face a very good Arkansas football team with 2 quarterbacks, not one, and they've got quarterbacks that can run and quarterbacks that can pass. We're going to have an opportunity to look at them right now. The senior quarterback will go with Mark Cal Cagney. The sophomore quarterback is Greg Thomas. Let's look at Cal Cagney first. Cal
Cagney has a reputation as a senior for not being a great runner. He's an adequate passer, but there you see him scoring a touchdown. The sophomore quarterback, Greg Thomas here, out on the outside hits James Shebest, who is their best receiver, indeed had 51 receptions last season.
Defensively, they've got a very fine pair of inside linebackers. The first is Nick Miller.
Well, anytime your defense, as Arkansas, has not given up a rushing touchdown in 8 ball games, it forces teams to pass. And that pass being intercepted by David Basil, one of those outstanding linebackers.
A lot of the credit really should go to the men on the front line, led by Tony Cherico, and they'll make things happen for those inside linebackers. They don't get a lot of the credit, but really they should, so we'll establish that up front. We also should say that this is the first time, Kyle, that this game has been played under a new open policy. Normally, you'd see the WAC conference champion.
Normally, you'd see BYU.
Yeah, well, let's be honest. It usually is a BYU ball game, but not so tonight. So you have an Arkansas, you have an Arizona State, you've got a team that likes to put it in the air, another team that likes to run, and you've also got 2 teams, as I said at the outset, that can really pop you on defense. The emphasis has got to be on the fact that you must stay away from errors.
Well, one of the things about Arkansas, again, is they do commit so few turnovers. Only 16 turnovers the whole season, 12 fumbles, only 4 passing interceptions against them.
All right, now we're going to go to the field where the Naval Academy Glee Club is going to present a fine rendition of our national anthem, part of the festivities here at the Holiday Bowl, and they've got some great things lined up, including a fireworks display at halftime that I don't think you're going to believe. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, let's go down to the field for the introduction, the Naval Academy Glee Club.
Flag, please rise and honor America by joining the U.S. Naval Academy Glee Club in singing our national anthem. Can you sing, my little
break here in San Diego with the Holiday Bowl. We'll be back with our opening kickoff in just a moment.
Introducing something new and rather amazing. A super high-octane gasoline with twice the detergent it had before to give you a plus. A detergent strong enough to actually clean dirty fuel injectors to give your car power and performance it didn't have before. New Mobile Super Unleaded, high octane with a plus.
This electronic timer will show how fast Chloraseptic can relieve sore throat pain.
My throat's really red, I'm sure, and it has a raw feeling to it.
Will you try Chloraseptic?
Yes.
Now watch the timer.
Oh, it numbs it. It's fantastic. It's like somebody's coated it with a medication.
With doctor-recommended Chloraseptic, relief is just seconds away.
When I wanted new golf clubs, I didn't buy the first ones I saw. Pro. But when I needed a trimmer to keep my beard and mustache looking great, I didn't ask anyone. I bought the best around. The Groomsman by Wall, with a one-of-a-kind attachment for virtually foolproof trimming. Wall invented the electric clipper almost 70 years ago, and they're still #1 with hairstyling pros. So why didn't I ask a pro about Wall? I didn't have to. I am a pro. The Groomsman and other fine products by Wall. Ask a pro.
In a high-tech fighter, avionics like these are your eyes. In your car, this eye tells you the all-weather Delco free to go. One glance is all the maintenance it takes in any weather, from the blazing desert heat to flash frozen with sub-zero liquid gas. You'll see why Delco is the world's largest producer of maintenance-free batteries.
Get rebates now on Delco Freedom batteries. Call 800-AC-DELCO for a participating retailer.
Never wait for trouble.
The 1985 Holiday Bowl is brought to you by new Mobile Super Unleaded, the high-octane gasoline with a plus. And by Jeep Comanche, the new truck on the road. It's worth a look. Down to the field now where the coin toss has just been enacted. And I believe that Arkansas has won the toss.
They won the toss, elected to defer their decision to the second half, and because of that, Arizona State is going to go ahead and take the football and try to get their offense underway. Obviously, Kenny Hatfield believes that Arkansas defense, that tremendous defense that only allows a little over 11 points a ball game, can stop the Arizona State Sun Devils.
There's John Cooper, and you talk about a fellow that has paid his dues. Clinton, Tennessee, 14 years as an assistant coach. And, of course, over at Tulsa before the opportunity to come to Arizona State. And what a turnaround after a subpar year last year, 8-3 this year, against an old friend, the man that leads the Arkansas club, Ken Hatfield. 9-2 was their finish. This is Kendall Traynor, and Traynor will be the man kicking off. And Arizona State will send two men back. Number 82 is Chip Risch on the far side, and number 30 on the near side, Mike Crawford, who will be one of their running backs, their most productive running back of the year. So the 8th annual Holiday Bowl is underway from San Diego. Crawford to the 20 and down to the 22-yard line. Johnny Centers, who is an offensive stalwart for Arkansas, was down on the kick coverage and made the stop. So Crawford will take his position in the Arizona State backfield as Jeff Van Raphorst will lead them on. And some numbers for 1985. He has over 4,000 yards already as a quarterback at ASU and could be the best ever before his career is completed after next season. Vince Amoya, the fullback, Crawford, the tailback as we started. And Van Raphorst immediately to the air. Incomplete.
Oh boy, almost an interception for Arkansas in their defensive secondary. Otis Lloyd, the rover back, was there on the underneath part of the coverage, and that pass being thrown into double coverage.
Well, evidently they feel that they can pass upon the Arkansas team, who gives up 180 per. Here's Van Rapphorst with Crawford and Amoya in the backfield. Hill the flanker with Cox the split end and Gallimore the tight end. Cox, remember, has a hamstring problem. Offensive line, Fanotti the captain, McDaniel, Thomas, Kalis, and Villa. Second down. And Crawford on the turn over the 25-yard line to the 26. It was David Basil who made the stop, a linebacker. Defensively, you've got Calvin Williams with Rodney Beecham, Jericho, and Gerald Jones across the front line, with Dudley, Miller, and Basil the linebackers. Dudley will play on the outside. The roverback is Otis Lloyd, Wyatt, Kevin Anderson, and Greg Lasker round out the secondary. Third down, 7 to go. Ball on the 26. Shotgun. Van Rapphorst. And it's complete, but short of the first down. Mike Crawford stopped by David Basil.
Well, they were going to allow the short pass. David Basil was back right around the first down marker, allowed them to make the completion in front. 5 receivers out on the pattern. 3 wide receivers, 1 man out of the backfield on the tight end. And this throw to Mike Crawford, and as he turns around, David Basil is right there.
So that'll bring up a kicking situation. Bobby Joe Edmonds back as Mike Shue gets the kick away. And the ball is going to be short.
Not a good kick. It's going to be in Arizona State territory. So Arizona, with a poor kick, gives the Razorbacks the ball in their own territory.
19-yard kick by a man that kicked at 41 plus during the regular season and was number 2 in the Pac-10. All right, Arkansas will take possession, Kyle. Any clue as to what we might have for an opening sequence?
Got to force them to stop the run first, but don't be surprised on the second play if they pass the ball.
Cal Cagney in 85. And he goes back to pass and throws it out of bounds. All right, so that's something they didn't do very much of during the regular year, like 11 times on an average per game, and a good pressure that time by Dan Salamua. The nose guard will be all over the ball tonight.
Kenny Hatfield believing that early on in the game he had to establish for Arizona State's defense that they would throw the ball, hoping that when he did show pass, they would then go ahead and finally allow the run.
Cal Cagney with Roush and Edmonds in the backfield. Foreman is the fullback in that wishbone. Offensive line of Williams, Parks, Upchurch, Paquette, and McGee. And this time on the give, they go Foreman. And he's stopped by Jim Reynosa, who had a good week of practice, and so he's a surprise quick starter tonight ahead of Frank Rudolph on the right end. Defensively, they've got Talini Wright, Sean Patterson, Salamua, and Reynosa. Rudolph with Battle, who's terrific, along with Knight and Scott Stevens, are the linebackers. And defensively, Billy Robinson, Eric Allen, David Fulcher, and Anthony Parker, who is also their punt return man. 3rd down and 8 for Cal Cagney. He'll run it. And on the quarterback draw, Dan Salamua. The big nose guard, 290-pounder, a junior from right here in the San Diego area, pulled him down.
Well, it's obvious now for Arkansas that with the Holiday Bowl, they're going to celebrate. They haven't run the quarterback draw very much. Did some on occasion last year. Kenny Hatfield used it a lot at Air Force, but we haven't seen it much this season.
So it'll bring a 4th up, 4th down, and 5 yards to go. And keep an eye on Anthony Parker, who'll be back. And it'll be Greg Horn who will be doing the punting. Horn averaged 42.6 yards per kick. There it is. Parker, the best punt return man in the Pac-10. And he feels it and stumbles forward to the 23-yard line, but they'll mark it back, I believe, at the 22. A 23-yard kick. We have no score. It's the 8th annual Holiday Bowl from San Diego.
When it's freezing cold and the sirens blow and the mercury's down to 20 below, you don't need problems, you gotta go. That's why America goes with Prestone.
A fresh fill of Prestone 2 antifreeze fights freeze up and rust up too. A radiator could look this bad after just 10,000 miles of driving on weak, neglected antifreeze, while the Prestone radiator looks this good. Get the Prestone difference.
America goes and goes and goes with Prestone.
In a couple of days, a new company will be born here, started by someone with the courage to believe in the American dream and the wisdom to subscribe to the Wall Street Journal.
Call 800-527-9800 for this new Journal offer. 13 weeks for just $28 with a money-back guarantee. 13 weeks, $28. Phone 800-527-9800 now for the Wall Street Journal.
There's nothing like starting at the top, and this next show should be a barn burner with the comedian, actress Whoopi Goldberg.
I mean, it's like so, I mean, it's just like, you know, your daughter, you know, or like, you know, just like all the kids you know, and you see at school, you know, and like you just think, like, they are so dumb.
Then Daniel J. Travanti talks about Hill Street Blues, why it's not real and yet believable. Join us, USA Network, right here.
At 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific, tomorrow.
Eddie Doucette, Kyle Rote Jr. in San Diego, and no score here at the Holiday Bowl. We're just underway with 12:22 to play here in the first quarter on USA Sports. Arizona State will take possession of the ball, and they've spotted it down now just over the 20 as we get a nice look in from our Goodyear blimp. Van Raphorst is the quarterback with Amoya and Crawford, the running backs, out of the eye, and a slot left. That's Mike Crawford. Big hole, pulled down by Greg Lasker along with Kevin Anderson. Mike Crawford.
Tremendous blocking in the line. The double team on Tony Cherico, the nose guard, gets it set up, and a good block on the outside by Kevin Thomas to spring Crawford.
And the Crawford statistics are impressive. Here they are. Impressive when you consider he was not supposed to play all that much, and did so in replacing their #1 ground gainer a year ago, Darryl Clack. Now they give it over to Amoya. And Kyle, there's a story in itself. If you believe in Walter Mitty stories, he's certainly one.
Well, to go from being told that you're not fast enough, we can't get any film on you. He went to junior college trying to get film, was rejected 2 or 3 times, I believe. Eddie ultimately got to the wrestling team and beefed himself up, and finally did get a chance. Has just made a tremendous impact on this program.
Walked on as a wrestler and eventually walked on and made it as a football player. 2nd down and 6. Vinny Amoya, the fullback, the man we just talked about. There's Crawford. And Crawford at 203 pounds, tackled by David Basil, one of the inside backers for Arkansas. There's a good man right there, Kyle.
Number 47,
Nick Miller. Keep in contact with the folks upstairs.
2-yard
the ball game. Both coaches, I'm sure, are trying to just check out the defenses. Arkansas will be in the same defensive alignment every single play. That is not the case for Arizona State. They jump around. They show the even set, the odd set differently on the play.
3rd down and 4. Ball on the 42. And Nick Miller on the completion to Jeff Gallimore, the tight end. Well, they've got talented tight ends. They've got a fine receiver in Cox. And I'm sure if Cox's hamstring is bothering him, they'll go to people like Garrett, who's just come on, who really had not played a whole heck of a lot coming into this game.
Redshirt freshman, but he's got the size. I ultimately expect him to be another tight end, and that's why his number's 85, I guess. He's 6'4", 222. Not too many wide receivers of that size.
1st down and 10. Arizona State. Slot left. Van Raphorst, the junior quarterback. And it's complete. And again to Gallimore, the tight end. He's 239 pounds and 6'3", and Eric Whitted, a reserve linebacker, the tackler.
5 receivers out on the pattern. Arkansas, as soon as Raven Caldwell was injured, they don't have an outstanding pass rusher. And so that's allowing Arizona State to send out a lot of people on the patterns.
There's Gallimore, Oxnard, California. A lot of California flavor on this ASU team. Good blocker, as you just saw him line up on the right side. 1st and 10. On the delay, give it to Amoya. And that time they line up in a different formation than the eye, and brought down by Nick Miller, all Southwest Conference 2nd team linebacker.
Watching Van Raphorst, and the defense collapses here, trying to hold off on the far side. Calvin Williams, number 13, knocking off the blocker to allow the linebacker, Nick Miller, to come up and make the tackle.
Crawford comes out to come in with 3 receivers and 1 solo back, and that is Amoya. So a 2nd down and 8. As we move along, no score in the first quarter. Vinny Amoya. And the kid from Buffalo, for Lasker, pulls him to a stop. And Amoya getting himself close to 1st down territory.
There's a conflict of interest.
Who's she pulling for?
She probably goes to Arizona State, has a boyfriend at Arkansas.
3rd down, 3 to go. They are 1 for 2 on 3rd down conversions. There's the Walter Mitty man himself, Vinny Amoya. Coss and Gallimore, double tight ends, and a 3rd and 2. Play action. And almost right there. Otis Lloyd was back to defend along with Kevin Wyatt, and the intended receiver Bruce Hill was in between but could not hang on. So it's a 4th down and 3 coming.
And Rapport once again throwing into double coverage there as Lloyd, the rover back, with the underneath coverage, and they had a great chance of picking the ball off. Arizona State, by the way, defensively number 2 in the nation in pickoffs in terms of interceptions with 26.
He's going to come in and try a field goal here. Ball is on the 31-yard line. It's in the air. And it's good!
47-yard field goal.
So Bostrom doing what he could not do against Arizona. He missed a 22-yarder in that game that would have put him in the Rose Bowl. But he gets one from 47, and ASU leads it 3-0.
No, don't move now, or you'll miss the latest concept in sports handicapping. What's it called? My Early Bird Econophone service. Why is it different? Because it's designed for the small and medium-sized player and priced that way. How does it work? One call buys them all. That's right. You get 7 winners for only $69. That's less than $10 per game. How do you sign up? MasterCard Visa. Call right now. 1-800-645-7048.
Introducing the G-Shock 5200 watch from Casio. The sports watch that's ready for action with a built-in shock absorber. It's tough, so tough, this G-Shock can take a slap in the face and not even flinch. The G-Shock 5200, just one of Casio's water-resistant sports watches. It's one tough watch to beat.
There's a new truck on the road. It's called Comanche. It's built by Jeep. It's worth a look.
Now there are special factory-to-dealer incentives on selected Jeep vehicles and Eagle.
We're in San Diego, California, and Arizona State with a 3-0 lead on a 47-yard field goal by young Bostrom, his longest kick as a college performer. His previous long was 46, but he's gotten his team into a 3-0 lead, and with 9 minutes to play here in the quarter, ASU leads it 3-0. Bostrom will get set to kick. Back in triple safety waiting for the ball will be Van Dyke along with 2 of his teammates. It'll be Rouse and Carl Miller. Miller in the middle, Van Dyke on the near side, and Rouse, the freshman, on the far side. Carl Miller will bobble it and down it, and they'll place it at the 20-yard line. And Arkansas will take possession of the ball on the 20.
It's unfortunate. I was hoping we'd see Carl Miller, one of the nation's leaders, and kickoff return.
Yeah, I averaged 23 plus in the Southwest Conference competition. So already Arizona State has dented the scoreboard. Not many teams did that this year against Arkansas. Excellent team defensively, and we'll talk about that.
Number 18, Mark.
Arizona State now has made a change defensively with Frank Rudolph coming into play along with Salamua, Patterson, and Skip McClendon on the front line defensively. Derek Thomas is in at a fullback, Sammy Van Dyke, one of the running backs. On the roll. Donnie Centers completed and out of bounds. Pushed out there by Anthony Parker.
Very unusual situations. One of the ball boys on the sideline dropped a ball. It rolled on to the field. Perhaps on the receiving end of this, we'll see that, the completion. And as he turns outside, they're showing lots of respect for that speed of Donnie Centers.
There he is. Donnie Centers missed all of last season with a broken collarbone. But his addition, along with Shebest, gives him a tremendous 1-2 punch with big speed. Calcagney, and over the 40 to the 41-yard line. Tackled by Greg Battle, the MVP of the ASU team this year, and Scott Stephen, their devil back, who had 9 quarterback sacks this last season.
Well, once again, a brand new formation for Arkansas. They split out the tight end about 5 yards from the tackle. That's something we haven't seen all. Put the wide receiver way out towards the sidelines, a yard away, trying to confuse and try to get the Arizona defense to see some things that perhaps they hadn't seen in the film, because Arkansas typically runs 4 plays, and that's about it.
Jamie Luders has come in now for Shebest to the split end. Here's the flex bone, or in Arkansas they call it the ham bone. Here's Rouse. And the freshman running back gets the yardage close to a first down. Battle and Robinson, Billy Robinson, one of the linebackers, stopping on the play. And Rouse, who is 6'2", 205, who has tremendous speed and averaged close to 6 yards a carry, has got them the first down.
Leading rusher, a freshman, the pride of Little Rock. And Kenny Hatfield with 8 touchdowns. No other freshman has ever scored more than 3 at Arkansas, and Rouse has 8. Hatfield expects him to perhaps be the next Heisman Trophy candidate from Arkansas.
Only a freshman, as Kyle mentioned. Shebest in centers now in at the split ends. Calcagney. And running over the 50 and into Arizona State territory. Battle again. The senior from Wilmington, California, the tackler.
I would not be surprised if Kenny Hatfield, with this being the last game for the seniors, one reason he started Mark Calcagney is because he is a senior. Greg Thomas only a sophomore, and Thomas will certainly have a number of seasons to go before his career ends for the Razorbacks.
You know, I've been impressed, though. We saw him against the Houston team. He ran close to 100 yards that day. He had 160 yards against Rice, and they say he's a better passer than runner. Rouse. And Rouse is tackled by Skip McClendon, one of the bigger Sun Devils. 6'5.5" and 264 pounds.
Now look again, here's the flex bone, a counter step. Call it their fan play. They're trying to get a false step by the Arizona State defense, and the defensive end left his outside position, came into the backfield, made the tackle.
3rd down and 4, ball on the 47-yard line. And a nickelback situation set up for Arizona State with Darren Willis coming in as the nickelback. And the flex bone. And Calcagney trying to get to the 45-yard line. He did not get the first down. Tackled by Fulcher and Willis. David Fulcher, the 2-time All-American free safety, was the man that hit him first, number 7.
Fulcher has 6 interceptions. He's given up a lot of long balls behind him because he loves to support the run so much. And with a 6'3" frame, 224 pounds, it's easy to see why. Really he plays much more like a linebacker.
He's incredible. And I think perhaps, Kyle, when he becomes a pro, that he may be converted to a linebacker. He's got the size, and he could add a few pounds very easily.
Yeah, and I don't think he has quite, though, the speed to be able to stay as a cornerback or as a safety.
4th and 1, 2 tight ends in. Calcagney to the short side. Did he get it? Willis was in there to stop him. And they're going to give him a first down. So Arkansas, one of the real good running teams, 8th best in the nation. They average about 265 plus yards per game. Pick up 1 for Kenny Hatfield. Hatfield was a fine player at Arkansas himself. There's his career record. Best punt returner in the history of that fine institution.
Led the nation in that category in 1963 and 64. Well, gutsy call. Going with what's got him here.
On the give directly this time to Derek Thomas. And off the left side, Frank Rudolph and Dan Salamua. 290 and 250 pounders stopping him on the play. Five minutes and 3 seconds to play here in the first quarter. A 3-0 ball game. Arizona State with a lead on a 47-yard field goal. It was a 79-yard drive. And they got it down and made the big field goal to give them the lead. And Dyke Thomas and Rouse, their running backs, in the bone. Calcagney dumps it ahead to Rouse, and he drops the ball. An incomplete pass. Jim Reynosa was in there to force. And so it comes up incomplete. And it'll bring up a 3rd down.
It's a little bit unusual for Arkansas. They look a little bit off step. Rouse, that was a catchable pass. I'm sure he expected a linebacker or perhaps Fulcher to come up and knock his head off, which is why he didn't go to the ball very well. But that was a catchable pass, and Arkansas is known for efficiency, for doing things with precision, and that last play was not operated in that fashion.
John Cooper and Hatfield, old buddies, as they break the bone now, and they'll go against a 5 defensive back set. Swing it out, Bobby Joe Edmonds. To the 35, and over the 30, and into ASU territory a little deeper. David Fulcher, the free safety, knocked his pins out from under him.
This is another play that Arkansas has not used much this year at all. There are two players that will come out in front. Edmonds, who's a decent runner, but he's a much better pass receiver and is terrific in the open field, witnessed by his ability on punt returns, one of the nation's leaders in that category. So he is the obvious candidate for the screen pass.
They brought in Theo Young at a tight end as they go to a full bone. And on the direct give that time, they try the middle of the line. Jim Reynosa was the tackler on the play. As Arkansas trying to move the football, they're more than likely, Kyle, to try and pass the ball in the middle of the field. When they get down close, I think you're going to look to them to run the ball a lot more. That's what they're most comfortable doing.
They wish they had a little bit better field goal situation from their team. That's one thing that Kenny Hatfield believes is a weakness for his Arkansas Razorback team. It was a field goal that prevented them from beating Texas as they lost by 2 points. Missed 3 field goals in the second half of the ball game.
Jim Rouse, and Rouse down close to the 20-yard line. David Fulcher was there on the tackle. Arizona State leading here at the Holiday Bowl, the 8th annual in San Diego, California. And with 3:22 to play here in the first quarter, Arkansas trying to drive it in, trying to get back and get in a position to go on the scoreboard. Theo Young has come in. They also have big Freddie Childress, the biggest of the Razorbacks, on the field. He is 6'4", 305 pounds as we look now at Fulcher.
Fulcher, if he plays in the pros, is going to play at strong safety or linebacker, as we talked about.
And that time, Derek Thomas drives behind Childress. There he is getting up off the bottom, 72. McLaughlin and John Knight, the tacklers in the play. And a concerned John Cooper now, as he is seeing Arkansas do what they do best, and that is keep the ball on the ground and just eat away.
Only option team that Cooper saw this year was Pacific, and they just don't run it as fast, and they don't run the option as well as Arkansas does. The fullback dive is the absolute base of this option series of the flex bone.
Van Dyke, Thomas, and Rouse in the backfield. Cal Cagney, the quarterback. First down and 10. And Rouse, he wanted to find a hole, it wasn't there. He stopped by Sean Patterson, who plugged up the gap in a hurry.
John Knight, they're really filling holes. They like to commit 8 players to defend the rush. 8 players so that they can fill all the gaps, and the linebackers have to play their role in that. The false step that Arkansas took in the backfield trying to get some pursuit, some false pursuit by Arizona State, has not worked at all tonight.
Salamua has come in defensively. Kenny Hatfield working against a team that only allows 13.6 points per game. A drive that started 7 minutes ago, and this is the 14th play. And this time they crack down to the 10 and just inside the 10-yard line.
What Arkansas has seen is that the basic flex bone is working. Some of this fancy stuff is not working too much against Arizona State, and I expect they're going to stay with that flex bone until Arizona State comes up and they really stop the run.
Derek Thomas that time, Talini Wright and Sean Patterson were right there on the left side to stop him, but he gets 6 yards, and it's a 3rd down and 4, and the ball on the 9-yard line. And we'll tell you that we're in San Diego. It's Arizona State 3, Arkansas nothing. The Holiday Bowl on USA.
What's black and white? Smooth, but rocky. Unpredictable, colorful, mysterious, but playful, and very, very big.
The big island of Hawaii. There's no place like it on Earth. And there's no airline that can take you there like United.
Let the friendly skies bring the big island alive.
Guidance systems, marine navigation, computer systems. Sperry technology has set a standard for anything that moves, on land, sea, or air. Now Sperry will set a new standard for airline safety. A warning system that can sense wind shear and alert the cockpit automatically. You know, a lot of people consider Sperry a safe choice. They don't know how right they are.
Arizona State 3 and Arkansas nothing. We have 1:46 to play in the first quarter. It's the Holiday Bowl from San Diego. And you couldn't ask for a better setting. And these two teams are really up for this one.
California's second largest city. A great week for all the ball players as they went out on the super carrier, U.S. Navy super carrier Ranger. Had a spectacular show over at SeaWorld. They went to the San Diego Zoo. They've loved the weather. It's been a great week for the ball players.
Van Dyke, Thomas, and Rouse in the backfield. And a touchdown! Derek Thomas, his 4th touchdown of the year, and Arkansas has taken the lead.
Well, Arkansas very surprised at the fancy stuff that they thought that they would bring into this game and surprise Arizona State that it hasn't worked. So they go right back to the power of the flex bone with the fullback dive, Derek Thomas, the double team inside, and he follows the lead. Some missed tackles on the backside, but of course they're playing for the pitch as Scott Stephen came up
on the kick, and it's good. So Arkansas, after spotting ASU 3-0, have come back with 1:32 here in the quarter, and now they're saying, wait a minute, wait just a minute. The officials are claiming that there might have been a penalty. There was a holding call against ASU, so forget about that. Arkansas has gone ahead 7-3 here in San Diego.
Well, this is the kind of penalty that you don't assess on the opening kickoff. I believe that they're going to have to either go ahead and decline it.
And that's exactly what the call is as we get a look at the referee, Larry Rice from Sunnyvale, California, making the indication. So they used up the clock magnificently. A 15-play drive that went 80 yards, and it took 7 minutes and 28 seconds. And that is vintage Arkansas football.
Keep it on the ground. And here you can literally have 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Arkansas went back what they do best, and as we said, they only have 4 basic plays that they run, but they run them so well, much like the old Green Bay sweeps of professional football. There's the scoring drive that Eddie was telling you about, 80 yards with the 16 plays and a lot of time on the clock.
Well, I had the feeling, Kyle, that you had 2 coaches that knew each other, that they may try and cross each other up. And I think initially that both these coaches did, but you saw Hatfield go back to the things that he is so comfortable with, and quite frankly, the things that I think that John Cooper eventually would like to do at Arizona State.
He's going to have, I think, a real problem at Arizona State because the history of Arizona State is pass. And Cooper is built on a very conservative offense where you put emphasis on the kicking game, you put emphasis on the rushing game. And we saw a little bit of a transition this season for Arizona State. They started out the season passing the ball a great deal. As the season progressed, they relied a lot more on the run. And I think they may come to a point of conflict. It'll be interesting to see how the university handles that.
How about the offensive coordinator they have now?
Well, he may solve his own dilemma because he's good enough that he might get a head coaching job someplace else.
Kendall Traynor to kick it off. You've got Rishan Crawford deep for ASU. And he'll sail this baby right out of the end zone. So Arizona State will have to march long, like 80 yards if they want to get in there. They'll start from the 20-yard line as a good kick by Kendall Traynor. Arkansas, they're in a good position right now, and there's the man that scored the touchdown for him. That's the fullback, Derek Thomas, a junior from Paducah, Kentucky. So Arizona State will start with Stein Koss in one of the tight end positions. Bruce Hill along with Aaron Cox. They'll have Amoya and Crawford, the running backs, and they'll run from a split back set. 1st and 10 at the 20. Trailing 7-3, straight give to Crawford. And he's tackled by Nick Miller. And he's got law in mind for the future. Tonight he just wants to handcuff a few of those ASU runners. Pardon me. Bowl time in San Diego. Cox and Garrett have gone away now for Arizona State. And they've been replaced in the lineup as Van Raphorst. Drops back. And this time they go to Bruce Hill. Tackled by Nick Miller. And Arkansas indicating that they have jarred the ball loose. But the official down there says that Arizona State has retained the ball. And you see John Cooper, and Kyle, quite frankly, we talked about it at the outset. The one thing he's concerned most about is making mistakes.
Because that has been a problem for them, despite the fact that they had 26 interceptions this year defensively. Their plus minus in turnovers was only +3. So they gave up the ball a great deal themselves.
Offensive pass interference is the call.
The old pick play.
And Ricky Williams is out talking to the referee. Ricky Williams, incidentally, only a sophomore, and they say he may be the best linebacker that ever played at Arkansas before it's all over. And on top of being a pretty good hitter, he's an accomplished cello player besides. I don't suppose he had any problem hoisting that big instrument.
Well, there's an incredulous
Penalty
response.
takes the ball back to the 11-yard line. Offensive pass
Oh, the loss of down.
Yes, sir. Brings up a 3rd down.
Also a loss of down.
Well, that's the double negative. That's one of the worst penalties you can have.
So fumbles, mistakes, they added up to 3 losses. Only one real legit loss for ASU. They could have beaten Michigan State and certainly Arizona. They led them 13-3 late, and they lost it by 3, 16-3. And now it's 3rd and 19. Crawford.
Number 30.
And he goes nowhere. And there's Ricky Williams, number 57, along with Otis Lloyd. Williams, 57.
I think Kenny Hatfield, he needs to be an advisor to Ronald Reagan. If you're looking for somebody to know how to handle a defense and to develop a strategic defense for the nation, he certainly has done it here in college football. Again, as we said, they have not given up a rushing touchdown in eight games. Went through the without giving up a rushing touchdown.
Shoes kick. Bobby Joe Edmonds is deep. He's one of the best from the 48. And down at the 44-yard line. A 42-yard punt. And the tackle by Mike Edwards, who came up to make the hit. So Bobby Joe Edmonds, who is number 3 on the all-time punt return list, has got them in good field position. It's 7-3 Arkansas. College football 85 Holiday Bowl in San Diego, California. And it's Arkansas 7, Arizona State 3 as we start the second quarter. A 47-yard field goal and a 9-yard run have been the scoring on both sides.
There's the end around. Another one of the trick plays that Arkansas has brought into the ball game. That's Theo Young, 87.
And tackled by Greg Battle. Well, we haven't seen that.
Been here 7 years. The two teams in the game at Holiday Bowl averaged 60 points between the two of them. Kenny felt he had to do something. In fact, he promised the Holiday Bowl officials that he would open up his offense a little bit more.
Rouse and Foreman, the running backs. Foreman on the give, and look at him go, and he lost the ball. He lost the football, and it's recovered by Arizona State. Number 90, Scott Stephen, he came up with it. And the tackle, or the hit that jarred the ball loose, was John Knight.
Well, if you've got your VCRs on, save this one, mark it, because it's so rare for Arkansas to have a turnover of any type, including fumbles, and they keep stacking them up, and as always happens in football, the first tackler goes for the man, the second tackler goes to knock the ball out. They're reaching, grabbing, and they do spin it out.
And it doesn't happen very often that Arkansas fumbles the football. We'll get back to that. As Van Raphorst will start with Amoya and Crawford, the running backs in the eye. Mike Crawford. And puts the head down, and Ricky Williams cracked him pretty good. Nick Miller was there. So a couple of inside linebackers, the hitters on the play. And Kyle, going back to that point, Arkansas, a team that fumbled very, very little this year.
Only 12 times the whole season, and when you add up their interceptions, which was only 4, they only had 16 turnovers in an 11-game season. That's just remarkable. Less than a turnover and a half a ball game.
Crawford has come out. Van Raphorst will work with Hill, Garrett, and Cox, the receiver. Gallimore also in at a tight end. Going deep. And incomplete. Intended for Bruce Hill, and Kevin Wyatt goes up to knock it away.
This has not been Kevin Wyatt's best season. He was picked to be one of the all-stars coming into this season. Greg Lasker, the free safety, has played much, much better this year for the Hogs. But Wyatt, going back with some of what he did in previous seasons, comes over the top. In front is Greg Lasker and makes a good hit going for the ball.
Bruce Hill, the intended receiver. There's Wyatt, a senior from Kansas City. His dad used to pitch in Major League Baseball. He's with New York, the Red Sox, and the old Kansas City A's. Shotgun. 3rd and 8.
There it is.
Intercepted Richard Brothers, intended for Aaron Cox. And it's not the first time that it's happened. Van Raphorst intercepted 11 times during the regular season, and a 25-yard return by Brothers on the interception.
In our earlier game, Richard Brothers was not playing because he had a separated shoulder. You've got 7 defenders back in the pattern. This one goes a little bit too high. And he legs it out. And once again, the Arkansas Razorbacks have been able to pick up the ball in Arizona State territory. First on the bad punt by Arizona State, and this time picking it up within the 30-yard line.
Rouse, Van Dyke, and Thomas are the running backs, and the flag is thrown. Cal Cagney has dropped down right there. We have still not seen Greg Thomas. And right now, Arkansas with a 7-3 lead with 13:27 to play here in the second quarter. There's Cal Cagney, number 18.
Thomas will play. There's absolutely no question about it, because he is one of the players that they're going to bank on for the future.
An illegal procedure call, Kyle. Brings it back 5. Makes it first down and 15. And the ball is on the 35-yard line.
And really, wishbone and flexbone teams have got to have two quarterbacks that can run it. The quarterback is too much a center of contact in a wishbone type offense, so you've got to have two experienced people.
Running backs, Van Dyke, Foreman, Rouse. And a little movement up there in the line. Number 66 jumping off is John Stitton. About 283 pounds.
He's looking over at the sidelines because he knows that it's so out of character for Arkansas to be running end arounds, to be running screens to halfbacks, to be running quarterback draws, and to have players show problems with discipline there. Just uncharacteristic. Maybe the visit to the San Diego Zoo had an effect on him.
So now it's first and 20. Van Dyke, Thomas, and Rouse are the running backs in the bone. The Hogs of Arkansas, they call their bone the ham bone, although many people refer to it as the flex bone. First and 20. And that is number 21, Sammy Van Dyke. Tackled by Greg Battle, the inside linebacker, number 37.
That's a read pass pattern. As Cal Cagney drops out to the outside, he reads what the defense or what one of the linebackers is doing. If the linebacker drops back and allows double coverage on the curl in from the wide receiver, then he throws it out to the tailback. If the linebacker covers the tailback, then he hits the wide receiver on the curl. So it's really an option pass.
Moments ago, Kyle, we had a shot of John Walker, a backup quarterback. I don't know whether Van Raphorst may have been injured slightly in the last series of downs for ASU. Cal Cagney, deep drop. Almost intercepted over there by Billy Robinson, the rover back. Intended for James Shebest. And they almost had an interception, and that's kind of rare that they didn't come up with it because they were number 2 in the nation in that category.
Second only to Air Force, who had 28. This defense had 26 on the season, and really just a badly thrown ball. They felt that that was one of the patterns that would be wide open. It wasn't even close to being wide open.
Billy Robinson, 13-14 to play in the half. 7-3, a 47-yard field goal by ASU. That came with 9 in the quarter. And then a 9-yard run by Derek Thomas, getting Arkansas the lead at 7-3. Cal Cagney, good protection, now the rush, and he's dropped. Jim Reynosa and Skip McClendon. And Sean Patterson got a little piece of the action also, but Reynosa was the first one to hit him.
It's so much easier up here because we have a three-dimensional look. To his right, to our left, there's a receiver wide open, but with all that massive humanity chasing you, I wouldn't blame him for trying to take a run.
Greg Horn will punt. Back to receive is Anthony Parker. High spiral. Not a long kick. And a fair catch called for and fielded at the 30-yard line by Anthony Parker. With 12:31 to play in the half, it's 7-3 Arkansas.
No, don't move now or you'll miss the latest concept in sports handicapping. What's it called? My early bird econophone service. Why is it different? Because it's designed for the small and medium-sized player and priced that way. How does it work? One call buys them all. That's right. You get 7 winners for only $69. That's less than $10 per game. How do you sign up? MasterCard Visa. Call right now. 1-800-645-7048.
There's 1,000 reasons to buy these batteries.
1,000?
Ever-ready rechargeable batteries. Rechargeable up to 1,000 times.
The way
this family goes through batteries. Rechargeables really make sense.
And this ever-ready charger makes it easy. Just plug it in overnight for fresh, charged-up batteries. It's quick, simple, and safe.
That's terrific.
And where are you going?
I've got 1,000 things for these batteries to do.
Ever-ready rechargeable batteries. Rechargeable up to 1,000 times.
In a small dairy here, they make some of the best cheddar cheese anywhere. Of course, nobody knew that except the folks who lived here. Until...
Hi. I'm from Hickory Farms. I hear you make some pretty good cheese.
Hickory Farms has been to a lot of places to collect unique things for our Christmas gift packs.
Hey, Walt, think we're going to be famous?
Uncle Walt's cheddar and other gifts from Hickory Farms. We've done your Christmas shopping for you.
We're in San Diego, where Arkansas has a 7-3 lead with 12:31 and a half here at the 8th Annual Holiday Bowl on USA. Eddie Doucette, Kyle Rote Jr. And so far, no big surprises, as we said at the outset, mistakes could be a determining factor in this one. Cox and Hill, the wideouts for ASU. Amoya and Crawford, the running backs. Van Raaphorst, the quarterback. That's Crawford. Over the 35-yard line, close to the 37. Tackle by Nick Miller.
Number 47, Nick Miller. Gain of 7 yards.
So they give him 7. It'll be a 2nd and 3.
John Cooper really believes, as we mentioned, the conservative game. I'm sure even with the pass that he has that potential for, he's going to continue to use the run to get it all set up. He's got to make the run go to be able to beat Arkansas.
He's 3 for 6 so far, passing. Here he is. Play action. And complete ahead to Crawford out of the backfield. Miller and Dudley, the tacklers on the play, and they jarred the ball loose, but where does it go?
No, he said he was down before the ball popped out.
Van Raaphorst, incidentally, Kyle, played right here in suburban San Diego, so they know him well.
Here's a look. There's the hit. The ball in the arms. The knee is down. It's a good call. The ball does pop out, but as soon as anything other than a hand or foot touches the ground, you're down.
So a 1st down and 10. Garrett and Hill in to help on the receiving end for Arizona State. Crawford. And over the 50 to the 47, Kevin Wyatt was the tackler on the play.
Well, that's the kind of rushing gain that Arizona State is going to need to have to be able to set up the pass, because if they don't, Arkansas is going to be allowed to keep 7 people back in their pass coverage, which is what caused the interception earlier.
There's Greg Thomas. He's the man that we said is an excellent young man, good runner, and learning to throw the football much better. Crawford now has 39 yards on 8 carries for Arizona State. 2nd and 2. Amoya, 1st down, inside the 40, and tackled by Lasker. The safety, Lasker, along with Nick Miller, an inside linebacker, tackled him. Good run by Vinny.
Watch what happens to Davis Shell, number 70. 70 is knocked down on the ground, and you just see what a tremendous block by Randall McDaniel, 62, the left guard. That's what sets up the trap play inside.
Kevin Thomas, the center, did a good job blocking also, with 10:59 to play in the half. 7-3 Arkansas. If you just joined us on USA, this is the Holiday Bowl from San Diego. He had a couple of 200 or 100-plus yard games this year, and that kind of just topped off his whole dream, Vinny Amoya's. Now they're attending to one of the officials. Here's he got knocked down on the play. So we'll take a break here. Let you know we're coming right back. Arkansas 7, ASU 3.
Still can't decide on a gift for the whole family? Head for Sears and save $500 to $200 on all Kenmore microwaves, from compact to mid-size to full-size. Imagine saving $200. Save $500 to $200 on all VCRs with features like stereo, wireless remote, and programmability. Fact is, at these prices, you might want to suggest one of each.
There's more for your life.
Merry 100th Christmas.
At Sears.
I own a PC and a VCR, a condo on the beach, and my own company. But I don't own a car. I lease with GMAC. For me, leasing was smarter than buying. It's just good money management. And since I worked out the terms with my GM dealer, I can pay less each month. It was easy. Now I've got the new car I want, and leasing frees up my money for other things.
GMAC Leasing, only at your GM dealer.
For you, it just might be smarter than buying.
Smile, boys.
Look at this dang picture. We got bad developing again, boys. My hat ain't even white.
Well, I always said you was yellow.
Oh, that's funny coming from a greenhorn on a green horse.
The horse is green. Why, you are now, boys. Should have used that new Kodak color watch system. Could have had a great picture then. Try it again.
Look for the Color Watch seal where you get your film developed for bright, vivid color prints time after time. And if you don't see that sign, keep on riding.
We're back in San Diego, and with 10:59 to play in the half, Arkansas 7, Arizona State 3. This drive started on the 30-yard line. We got all kinds of angles to show you tonight. The last courtesy, and here it is again, of the Goodyear blimp. A nice aesthetic look at Jack Murphy Stadium, a beautiful facility in this great city. You've got Shell, Cherico, Beecham, and Calvin Williams on the front line defensively for Arkansas. Calvin Williams, quite a story, a miraculous recovery. He had a brain tumor last spring removed, and he's back here playing tonight. Brothers, Lasker and Wyatt, the deep secondary man, with Darrell Clack in there in the backfield for the first time for ASU, along with Amoya. Here's Clack. And Clack gets some running room, and down to the 35-yard line. Basil and Miller, the linebackers, stopped him on the play. Clack was their best runner a year ago.
At the press conference the other day, John Cooper put under a lot of pressure here by the bowl officials when they asked him the question, how much would Darrell Clack play? Clack wants to go to the pros. He wants to play some in the ball game, and yet has not really done all the work in the practice. And it made Cooper make some tough choices. You want to play the guys that have done the hard work in practice.
Well, we should tell you that he had a fractured fibula and had a chance to redshirt and has opted to play and use up his eligibility tonight. There he is again. And spins inside the 35 and down close to the 32. Nick Miller. He's been all over the place along with Otis Lloyd, trying to hang tough in there for Ken Hatfield's Arkansas Razorbacks. A 7-3 ball game with 9:52 to play here in the second quarter. There's Clack along with Vince Amoya. Clack is 5'10", 205, and Amoya 6 feet 218. Two seniors. 3rd and 2. Van Raphorst. And it's complete. That's Bruce Hill. David Basil was the stopper, but not before they get the first down. Oh, very close to it. It is a first down.
Good break-in pattern. He cut the pattern very precisely. It's almost an impossible pattern to stop if the wide receiver runs it well, because he turns in behind the linebacker and right there goes in across, and now he runs into that line of thunderstorms. Referee takes a pretty nice hit too.
There's Bruce Hill, 13+ yards per catch this year. Very talented receiver. Vinny Amoya. And Amoya down close to the 20. Miller again, along with Basil, the two inside linebackers. One thing we should point out here, Kyle, during the regular season, only 2 rushing touchdowns allowed all year by Arkansas, and none, again repeating, none in the Southwest Conference. So they do not yield to the run when you get down to goal line territory very easily.
John Cooper knows that. He played against Arkansas 8 times when he was coaching Tulsa, and they never beat Arkansas.
Ball on the 20. 2nd and 3. Amoya, not this time, greeted by Basil. Now, many people are asking if Arkansas has a blitz package in their defense.
Well, they don't have so much of a blitz package, but they fill holes and they try to play gap football many times. This time he comes right up, and there's no question he's not protecting against the pass. He's just going to come right up.
Panama City, interesting story there.
And with Dave, his parents now have the famous van for sale. They went to every ball game that Basil played with the exception of one in his career at Arkansas. Now that he's playing his last game, they're going to put the van up for sale. So if you've got one, write us a letter. We'll get in touch with him.
2 for 5 on 3rd down conversions. Complete! Lasker tackling Hill. So they go to the air and do what they do best. And out of bounds inside the 5, and a 1st and goal from the 3-yard line. Bruce Hill.
In the shotgun, he looks right back. He's looking at only one receiver. And on the outside, there he is. So for Bruce Hill, he moves the ball down inside the 5-yard line. Now they've got 4 downs to see if they can punch it in on the ground and at least break that string that Arkansas has.
Gallimore and Steinkost, two tight ends with Bruce Hill. Amoya and Crawford, the running backs in the eye. And they try to burrow their way up the middle. Cherico and Beecham, the middle of the defensive line, stopping Vinny Amoya. 7-3, Arkansas. And the clock continues to roll here with 7:40 to play in the first half. It's the Holiday Bowl on USA. Jeff Van Raphorst, a junior from El Cajon, California. Crawford will come out, and Darryl Clack will come in. He has not had a touchdown yet this year. A 5-minute drive for ASU. And Clack trying to get it done, and he cracks inside the 5 and no more. As Basil was there, along with the rest of that Arkansas defense, Rodney Beecham, Ricky Williams.
They really close things up. Clack is an outstanding ball player, but just gets met at the line of scrimmage and has no chance because you got Ricky Williams there, 57, making the first hit. You know, Eddie, I think from Clack's standpoint, either one of two things has happened. Either he knows that his grades are not going to be good enough to stay eligible next year, or the agents have gotten to him and convinced him that he needs to go to the pro ball right now.
Timeout has been called on the field. We have 6:45 to play in the half. It's 7-3 Arkansas from San Diego.
Introducing the G-Shock 5200 watch from Casio. The sports watch that's ready for action with a built-in shock absorber. It's tough, so tough, this G-Shock can take a slap in the face and not even flinch. The G-Shock 5200, just one of Casio's water-resistant sports watches. It's one tough watch to beat.
Jeep Cherokee has some advantages you ought to look into, like superior cargo room and room for 5 with a choice of 2 or 4 doors and 4-wheel drive you can shift on the fly. But the most important advantage, Cherokee is all Jeep, inside and out.
(7-3) at the Holiday Bowl, Arkansas, but they're having to stiffen it up right now as Arizona State has the ball at the 5-yard line on a 3rd down and 5. And Ken Hatfield going to have to look for the right combination. Remember, his team has not allowed a rushing touchdown in many a moon, and they gave up only 2 all year. Garrett, Gallimore, Hill, and Cox are the wide receivers, with one running back, Amoya, for ASU. Incomplete. Nick Miller intended for Gallimore, and there he is again. Miller is playing a terrific game in his final one at Arkansas.
Coming back, a quick curl in. The ball's got to really be blasted into the receiver, and it just wasn't thrown hard enough. So the ball on the hash marks, looks like they're setting up for the field goal. A little bit more difficult from this position on the field because it's on the far right hash mark. And even though the goalposts are a little bit wider in college football, this is not an easy kick.
Kent Bostrom. And it is good. A 22-yard field goal. And ASU has added 3 more, but they could not do a job against the Arkansas defense. And so now with 6:39 to play here in the first half, Arkansas by 1. It's Arkansas 7 and Arizona State 6 on USA. Now's a good time for us to remind you that there's more college football coverage coming up on USA, so please take note. On December 30th, Kyle and I are up north in Anaheim. We'll bring you the Freedom Bowl when the Huskies of Washington take on the Buffaloes of Colorado. Game time, 8 o'clock Eastern. Then, on December 31st, it's the Bluebonnet Bowl from Houston as the Falcons of the Air Force Academy take on the Longhorns of Texas. Game 2:30 Eastern. Then on January 18th, North meets South in one of college football's oldest all-star games, the Senior Bowl. And that is a 1 o'clock start. College football continues on USA.
Big event here in San Diego. Armed Forces Network taking the signal from this ball game all over the world.
Miller, Thomas, and Van Dyke are back. Kent Bostrom on the kick. Miller. And a good pop, as you could hear it down below. Short of the 15-yard line. Saute Sapolo was one of the tacklers. There he goes right there, a freshman. And he's from Long Beach, California.
On the replay, he comes over and he picks it up. Had a chance to pick up a little bit more yardage down the sidelines as he looked up to see how close he was, and he loses a little bit of yardage as finally the pursuit of the Sun Devils catches up with him.
So 2 field goals by Kent Bostrom have got Arizona State within 1. And Greg Thomas has come in to run the Arkansas offense for the first time tonight. Cellini Wright, Sean Patterson, Dan Salamo, and Frank Rudolph, the defensive front line for ASU. Ball on the 14. And it's Sammy Van Dyke over the 15-yard line where Cellini Wright and Greg Battle hit him and stop him right there. Also number 7, David Fulcher. 6:20 and the clock is rolling. 7-6 Arkansas. Well-disciplined team, Kyle. That's been their trademark, and it's no exception in 1985.
Well, it allows you have to have discipline if your players aren't quite as big. Everyone talks about how small Arkansas is. They're not really that small, but slightly smaller than average, but the discipline makes up for it, and you certainly have to have that in the flex game.
Van Dyke, one of the running backs. There's Thomas, he's a good runner. And over the 30 to the 32. Scott Stephen, the double linebacker, who is strong and he is quick to go with it. He stopped him.
Thomas again, they commit on the fullback, take that away from Thomas. They come out to the outside and option off the cornerback and are able to move up the field. Billy Robinson there, number 31, went out with the pitch man, and you've got to have discipline in defense to be able to stop the flex bone in an option offense too.
There's Thomas. He is a wishbone quarterback, and he pitches back to James Rouse.
There's a great example because that time Billy Robinson came up and went for the quarterback. The last time he went with the pitch man, this time he goes for the quarterback, and Greg Thomas options off of him and this time pitches it.
And now on first down play attempts, Arkansas has run on 9 of them. So they know what they do best, and they stay pretty much with it. Van Dyke, Marshall Foreman, and James Rouse are the running backs. Arkansas led the Southwest Conference in rushing. 265 plus yards per game. Under 5.5. And Foreman, Marshall Foreman, the cousin of George Foreman, the ex-heavyweight champion, stopped by Salamua and Greg Battle.
Fullback dive. One of the 3 options from a running standpoint out of this flex bone. We've also seen him do the end around out of it today. We've seen him also pass in previous games. They've done the quarterback draw, and so they've added a number of nuances to typically this 3-option play.
Thomas directing the offense, and he'll give it to Foreman, and Salamua, the big Samoan, 290-pounder from National City, stopped him on the play. 7-6, Arkansas over Arizona State. And the clock continues to turn, 4:20 and ticking. And there's Big Dan.
One of 4, actually one of 5 football playing brothers. Said he was too small for USC. They've beaten USC every year that he's been at Arizona State.
2nd and 8. Foreman trying to get the first down, and he runs right into John Knight and Greg Battle, those bookend inside linebackers. Kenny Hatfield, who came from Air Force back to his alma mater. That's a dream come true for a fellow whose whole life has been football, to be able to come home and do a good job. Meanwhile, the other coach on the other side, John Cooper, waited many years before he got his chance. He was one of the 4 candidates, incidentally, they were considering for the Arkansas job. Thomas. On a 3rd down and 5, Billy Robinson stopped him. And I can see right here that...
Tough decision.
Yeah, it is. It is a tough one. Thomas with the running skills, Cal Cagney with more of the throwing skills, and a big man down on the ground, and that's Cellini Wright from Pago Pago, Samoa.
Not only a tough decision on quarterbacks, but now a tough decision here as we have 4th and a yard and a half or so.
4th down in less than a yard. Maybe call it a yard, will make it even right there, but it's going to be close, as Kyle had mentioned. There's Tellini Wright, a junior and 242 pounds.
Over at SeaWorld the other day, they had Salamua dancing, all 300 or almost 300 pounds of him. And Kenny Hatfield was pleased that he got fatigued after about 30 seconds of that dancing because he was going to try to run him today sideline to sideline.
He was actually hoping he'd go a little longer. Pretty proficient with those swords too, isn't he?
Oh, tremendous. Yeah. Salamua, perhaps the forerunner to William Perry, the refrigerator, of course, up at Chicago, as Salamua got a chance in high school to run the ball and score a touchdown. And if they get 6 touchdowns ahead here, apparently his coach, Cooper, has promised that he'll get a chance to run here. I don't think they're going to get six touchdowns ahead.
4th and 1. Chalmers to throw. A change in strategy to Bobby Joe Edmonds and out of bounds and incomplete. So doing what they don't do all that well, they tried to pull a little bit of a sneak play there, and they come up dry. Bobby Joe Edmonds, the intended receiver, and Greg Thomas as incomplete.
Well, there's the pump fake. Luther Franklin, the tight end, was going down the far other side. This one, of course, is Bobby Joe Edmonds, our outstanding receiver, who comes out of the backfield on that one. But one of the things that Thomas doesn't do as well as Cal Cagney is he doesn't fake into the line as well as Cal Cagney. So perhaps there wasn't as much deception, which is why the receivers weren't open.
Kevin Anderson, Greg Lasker, and Kevin Wyatt are back as the 3-deep zone for Arkansas, and they give that time to Mike Crawford, who's stopped by Tony Jericho. Jericho is a good one, Kyle. All Southwest Conference from Shawnee Mission, Kansas.
And not that large for a nose guard. So many nose guards these days are really nose tackles. They're big, beefy, 260, 270 pounds. Jericho is 6 feet, 235, and he uses quickness as his strength.
2 minutes and 33 seconds to play in the half. 2 field goals by Arizona State and a 9-yard touchdown run by Arkansas. And a little deception, and Vince Amoya out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Kevin Anderson, one of the deep men, knocked him out of bounds. Good block by Chris Garrett, incidentally. And so they stopped the clock with 2:22.
Well, that's got to be encouraging for Coach Cooper to see them be able to pick up that kind of yardage. The Arkansas defense was isolated, and assignment was blown and allowed them to be open on the outside.
Both teams now have had 8 first downs in the ball game. Split back set. First down and 10. Crawford. And Crawford down to the 35-yard line before Nick Miller stopped him right there. Miller from Clute, Texas, the #1 tackler on the Arkansas team during the regular season. There's Crawford. Boy, he got called on when Clack went down with that fractured fibula, and he has responded beautifully. 11 touchdowns during the year and just under 700 yards.
It's over half the rushing touchdowns his team had out of one ball player.
7-6. Arkansas with a 1-point lead. And Crawford on the carry.
Something unusual as we look in there, 64 is Jericho, and you don't see any pads on the arms. So many times interior linemen really bulk themselves up with the pads. That is not the case for the Arkansas player. Here you see the Arkansas stats in terms of scoring defense, or what they call scoring defense, 11.7 points.
Another little note, 8 of the 30 touchdowns this season scored outside the 30. Clack and Amoya, the running backs, from the shotgun with a man in motion. That's the tight end Coss. And they swing it to Clack. And Clack inside the 25-yard line. 1 minute to play here in the first half. Gerald Jones, the tackler.
Clack, very much like Bobby Joe Edmonds, just a terrific receiver because of that broken field ability. And here the linebackers come up, and it's really a mismatch as Dave Basil misses on the tackle, only got an arm on him. If you're playing tag, it's okay, but if you're playing football, it's not enough.
Van Raphorst, the quarterback. Cox is out. They've yet to go to him. Their brilliant split receiver. Vinny Amoya and Greg Lasker on the tackle. All Southwest Conference safety man, and a timeout has been called. So Arizona State using 1 timeout before this. They have 1 remaining, and they'll take this timeout right here.
Imagine Arkansas is happy for them to take the timeout. They have really been driving the ball on the Razorbacks. And had they not called the timeout, it would not have surprised me had Kenny Hatfield not also called the timeout.
At halftime, we'll take a look at the most exciting Holiday Bowl ever and maybe one of the great games in college football history, the 1980 game between SMU and BYU, and it was a classic. We'll have our Wall Street Weekend Memo, first half highlights, stats, and more, and we're going to even have some fireworks for you. It's all coming up at halftime of this 8th annual Holiday Bowl from San Diego.
People here have been so very nice to us, John Reed and everyone else in the Holiday Bowl staff. We appreciate their efforts.
Yeah, they really have, Kyle. They've been most receptive and helpful as we've prepared all week long for this game.
Talking about that history of the Holiday Bowl, 3 times teams have scored 35 points and lost. So that shows you that this really has a history of excitement.
Ball on the 16-yard line. Williams, Beecham, Crawford, Shell across the line with Amoya and Crawford in the backfield for ASU. Aaron Cox is in with Bruce Hill. 2nd and 3 on the 16-yard line. Good! Aaron Cox, the man we talked about. And he beat Kevin Wyatt. And Arizona State has scored with 36 seconds in the half.
The replay, Jeff Van Raphorst drops back. He's looking for only one man. There's several people back there, but really it's a one-on-one battle. And in that one-on-one battle, Kevin Wyatt, who, as we've mentioned, has not had a great season, gets beat badly.
Aaron Cox is their best. He averaged 19.7 yards a catch. He caught 40 for almost 800 yards during the season, and that is his 6th touchdown catch of the year. And now Arizona State will take its final time out of the half. And boy, Cooper used those well, didn't he, Kyle?
Well, he's got a situation here now that's easy to look back and say that by setting that up, they made they swallowed their pride a little bit and said, all right, if we're not going to score them on the run, let's go ahead and throw the ball. I'm sure they were very tempted to try to prove to Arkansas that they could score them on the ground, but they went with their strength, let Arkansas keep their string intact, but at least Arizona State gets the points.
So tricks aside, emotions aside, do what you do best and see if you can get the results. Our best against your best, and it looks like they may go for a 2-point conversion. So look for something that might be a 2-point conversion attempt, as Arizona State has taken a 12-7 lead here late in the first half. Cox, Hill, Amoya, Crawford, they're all in there right now for Arizona State. Stein-Koss at a tight end. Man in motion across, that's Hill. Play action, Arkansas ready for it, but it's good. Vince Amoya. Van Raphorst. The blindside rush was there, but Van Raphorst made the throw, and Amoya with a completion and a 2-point play.
Calvin Williams came in and put tremendous pressure on him, number 13. Here comes Williams on the outside, number 13. He gets the pass away blindly. It's nice on an extra point when they can't run it back for a touchdown. You can throw it anyway.
And under some heavy heat that time, Amoya does a good job of fielding the low pass. There's Williams. Boy, he was there, wasn't he?
Van Raphorst didn't see the completion, but when that gun went off, I'm sure he knew the result.
So it's a 14-7 ball game. Van Raphorst on the 16-yard pass play to Cox, completing a 52-yard drive in 7 plays. And then the 2-point play, Van Raphorst to Amoya, and now they lead by 7. Kent Bostrom will be kicking off for Arizona State. We have 36 seconds to play here in the football game's first half. Van Dyke, Chalmers, and Rouse are back for Arkansas.
Already Arizona State exceeding the average point total that Arkansas gives up.
Carl Miller is also back. And it's Miller. Pretty good return by the man that's better than 23 every time he touches it. Shy of the 30-yard line, and with 30 seconds to play in the half, Pat Taylor pulls him down, and they'll give the ball now to Arkansas at just about the 28-yard line. Calcagni's come back into quarterback, so they're looking to throw.
Calcagni, as we said, is not as good a runner as we indeed not only said but have seen. But Hatfield has more confidence that he won't make the big mistakes.
Bobby Joe Edmonds is in. He's a good receiver out of the backfield. They throw a little screen. And there's Bobby Joe to the 30-yard line. Well, Kyle, they've not used that play a lot at all this year,
Nope.
if at all, and it didn't work there.
Something that Kenny Hatfield was able, because he had been at Air Force a number of years, to be able to use. You can embellish the flex bone after you've got your troops with the basic part of it, and this is something that he used extensively at Air Force, but really hasn't used much at Arkansas.
So they use one of their timeouts, and Cal Cagney will go to the side to talk to Coach Hatfield and see what they can get done. Arkansas 9-2 during the regular season. They lose to Texas and Texas A&M, and the Texas A&M game was the one that knocked them out of the Cotton Bowl. But they're a team that is strong defensively. They had a couple of shutouts, and overall outscored their opponents 3 times to 1. On the other side, Cooper has had a team that deceptively scored a lot of points. You look at them, they averaged 24 plus, but he'll tell you that many times it was the interception, the defense that created the offense for Arizona State. For instance, in that Arizona game.
The problem that he has is that teams have been able to catch up on Arizona State. 5 teams, they were ahead of Utah 34-0 in the fourth quarter, and Utah came back with 27 points. Ahead of Arizona, as you said, 13-3, a 10-point lead, and Arizona came back and beat them 16-13. They were ahead of Stanford 21-0. You just don't have a team that can kill you.
5 backs back defensively, going deep, and intended for Johnny Centers and incomplete as Anthony Parker is there to cover. So the clock stops with 13 seconds to play, and it brings up a 3rd down and long, or 3rd down and 8. Ball still on the 30-yard line, or very close to it. Mark Cal Cagney. You may remember his brother Ron, who was a pretty good one down there himself. Pretty good family tradition at the University of Arkansas. You know, interestingly enough, Kyle, if you took Cal Cagney's numbers and multiplied them out, you'd find he had the highest passing ratings in the United States. He just didn't have enough passes attempted or completed. But he has been a very proficient passer, 57%. On the run, tries to get out of bounds to kill the clock and does at the 40-yard line. 7 seconds remaining. Scott Stephen ran him out.
And he did pick up the 1st down, so they'll have another chance here. Remember, Arizona State with only 1 timeout left. Arkansas has 3. They just don't have enough time to be able to use those timeouts.
7 seconds to play in the first half.
Little intentional fumble by Cal Cagney as he went to the sideline. It didn't look like he was going to get there, so he fumbled out of bounds intentionally to get the clock stopped.
Donnie Centers, one of the wideouts. He's a flyer. He's their big play man. 5'10", about 170 pounds, with Thomas and Miller in the backfield. Cal Cagney. That's Bobby Joe Edmonds, the 50. He'll not stop the clock here, and that is going to do it as John Knight stopped him, but they don't have any time remaining. And at the end of the first half, Arkansas has fallen behind Arizona State by a score of 14-7. It's the 8th annual Holiday Bowl, and coming up at halftime, we'll have a look at the most exciting Holiday Bowl ever, and maybe one of the great games in college football. We'll have some other information, some stats, highlights, when we return to San Diego.
Hey there, handsome, it's easy to see. You're the world's best looker, at least to me. You got a style that makes me stop and stare. You turn me on with the...
That he was explosive, and he is explosive indeed.
As we mentioned, Arkansas deferring their choice to the second half, and obviously in the second half they want the football because statistically the game very, very even throughout the first half. The only difference significant is that on the scoreboard.
All set to go as Arkansas will start it off here with Cal Cagney, the quarterback, and on a direct give this time, trying the middle of the line. It was Tellini Wright and Dan Solomia trying to stop the fullback, Marshall Foreman. And they didn't give him too much room to run at all. He gave him a couple of yards, and that's it.
Arkansas bringing about 2,000 fans. They're very disappointed that the flight schedules would not accommodate more. They could get a lot of fans to San Diego. The problem was with the holidays and with the date of this bowl game, they couldn't get them back because everyone seems to be flying on the pre-Christmas flights.
Ball on the 34-yard line, 2nd down and 8. Foreman again. And hit by Fulcher, the free safety, and Scott Stephen, the double back. 7. It's the 8th annual Holiday Bowl, and coming up at halftime, we'll have a look at the most exciting Holiday Bowl ever, and maybe one of the great games in college football. We'll have some other information, some stats, highlights, when we return to San Diego.
Hey there, handsome, it's easy to see. You're the world's best looker, at least to me. You got a style that makes me stop and stare. You turn me on with the...
And Carl Miller was the man that handled the football on the return, and we told you that he was explosive, and he is explosive indeed.
As we mentioned, Arkansas deferring their choice to the second half, and obviously in the second half they want the football because statistically the game very, very even throughout the first half. The only difference significant is that on the scoreboard.
All set to go as Arkansas will start it off here with Cal Cagney, the quarterback. And on a direct give this time, trying the middle of the line, it was Tellini Wright and Dan Salamia. Trying to stop the fullback, Marshall Foreman. And they didn't give him too much room to run at all. He gave him a couple of yards, and that's it.
Arkansas bringing about 2,000 fans. They're very disappointed that the flight schedules would not accommodate more. They could get a lot of fans to San Diego. The problem was with the holidays and with the date of this bowl game, they couldn't get them back because everyone seems to be flying on the pre-Christmas flights.
Ball on the 34-yard line, 2nd down and 8. Foreman again. And hit by Fulcher, the free safety, and Scott Stephen, the double back. Stephen is really something else, 228-pounder, a junior, but he's got the speed and the strength to go along with it. And I'm just wondering where he might fit in as a potential pro, because he could go either a little bit bigger, play a linebacker, maybe even drop back and play one of the safety positions.
I think he's got the frame to get a little bit larger. The devil back in this defense is really more of an outside linebacker in normal parlance.
3rd down and 4 from the 38-yard line. Rouse takes a pretty good pop initially by Billy Robinson and then is really put down.
Well, if they go to his forward motion, he'll get the first down. If they don't, he'll be about 3 yards short from where he ended up on his back.
There's James Rouse, 6'2". He's from Little Rock, so he gets a chance to play in front of the home fans quite often, playing part of their schedule up in Little Rock. He had over 4,300 yards in high school and 48 touchdowns. He runs a 4.5 40, so he has it all.
I'll tell you, that man has it all to be able to do that backflip without that springs in his legs.
1st and 10, Rouse again.
Number 35.
Battle was there, number 37. Tellini Wright, who was injured in the first half, number 96 right there with his back to you, back in the game. The 1985 Holiday Bowl is brought to you by the Sperry Corporation, a world leader in computer-based technology for business, industry, government, and national defense. And by Levi 501, the only jeans that shrink to fit you and you alone. Levi's Button Fly 501 Blues. Williams, Park, Upchurch, Paquette, and McGee, frontline offense for Arkansas. And that is Foreman. Knight and Fulcher were there to combine on the stop.
Fulcher gets to the line of scrimmage incredibly fast.
On the tackle, John Knight and David
He tries to play that safety position very much like a linebacker, and he's so strong.
First half highlights, Kyle, had them very close. As we said on the way in, these two teams evenly matched. Total offense, ASU 177, Arkansas 154. Arkansas with a little edge in rushing, and Arizona State with the edge in the passing. Right on down the line. Foreman and Rouse as they break the bone in the backfield. And Cal Cagney tries to sweep it, and Dan Salamua.
Well, the breakdown on the offensive line for sure. Salamua did a great job of getting penetration, but you've got to have blocking down on him as he gets inside over the top. And Salamua getting the penetration, moved out to the defensive tackle position.
A loss of 1 brings up a 4th down and 6. Greg Horn to boot. And 1 man deep, and that's Anthony Parker. This time he gets a good kick away, although not very high. And Parker will let it go in, and they'll bring it back out to the 20-yard line. A 52-yard kick. So we're underway in the 3rd. It's Arkansas trailing at 14-7 to ASU.
my travels around the world, I found no two countries alike, no two governments alike. There's a lot for governments to disagree on. But 31 governments have found at least one thing they can agree on: the power of Sperry computer systems to make government manageable. Now, if 31 countries can agree on that, who knows what else?
Have you heard the news about the 501 blues? It's a personal gene fitted specially for you. When you walk that walk, you tell the world you're the greatest. Man, these blue jeans just can't lose. I've got to get the blues on my body. Levi's button fly, blue, so blue, so blue, so blue, the 501 blues.
The way you blew into town and looked all around, well, I knew right then that you were new. You looked so fine and you cut such a fine line that I knew what I had to do. So I'm keeping an eye on you. Keeping an eye on you.
There's a new truck on the road. It's called Comanche. It's built by Jeep. It's worth a look.
Now there are special factory-to-dealer incentives on selected Jeep vehicles and Eagle.
Arizona State in white leading at 14-7. We're in the third with 11:30 to play here at the Holiday Bowl on USA Sports. Aaron Cox with David Finotti, Randall McDaniel, Kevin Thomas, and Todd Kalis, and Danny Villa with Gallimore in the front line offensively for ASU. Split back set to start him off. That's Jeff Van Raphorst, and blocked. The pass attempt was blocked that time. And I believe it was Calvin Williams. Yes, sir, there he is. Kyle, that young man's got to feel terrific, coming from where he was in a hospital bed last spring with that brain tumor and playing tremendously this year for Coach Ken Hatfield.
And he's got another year to go.
Anderson, Lasker, and Wyatt, the deep secondary. They'll play a zone coverage. Van Raphorst with a 2nd and 10. Garrett is in as a receiver now in motion 85. There goes Hill. Crawford. Good running room. And finally stopped by Greg Lasker, the safety man. Crawford's a nice looking runner.
Well, Arizona State doing some different things than we've seen before with the men in motion, pitching to the outside, and they're able to get to the outside of Arkansas, something that the Arkansas defense has not allowed too much this season. They normally string it out very well. The man in motion is again something that Arizona State has not done quite as much, and Arkansas has not seen it.
Crawford with 66 yards, 12 carries. There it is. Good block in that last run by Todd Kalis, the right guard. And this time it's Darrell Clack, stopped by Kevin Anderson. Kevin Anderson, who the last time we saw Arkansas was out with looked like a severe shoulder separation, Kyle, that needed surgery. But they got a little extra help, a little spiritual help, found out that there is such a thing as divine healing.
Well, as was reported in Sports Illustrated, it was one of those situations where after they took the next x-rays, they couldn't believe the remarkable and the miraculous recovery.
2nd down and 3, ball at the 45-yard line. Amoya, and Vinny Amoya is stopped by Calvin Williams again.
Well, in that story, they had been watching one of the television evangelists who had said that someone out there is being healed, and next thing you know, he was. Made some believers.
Arizona State with 3 points in the first quarter, 11 in the second, and they lead 14-7 here in the third. Cox, Hill, and Gallimore, the wideouts. Amoya and Clack are the running backs. Van Raphorst, it's complete. And that is Gallimore, the tight end. Stopped by David Dudley, the outside linebacker, to that short side of the field.
Get on the almost straight drop back behind the tackle, and they're throwing back to the weak side. With that, the secondary rotates really to the side that the quarterback is dropping, so they're going to the wide side of the field, throwing back to the weak side, and Gallimore is a good-sized target to be able to hit.
And according to John Cooper, the coach at Arizona State, Gallimore, the most improved player he's had on his offense this year. 2nd and 6 at the 48-yard line. Van Raphorst to pass. Incomplete and knocked down. Good play by Kevin Wyatt. Intended for Bruce Hill, and Wyatt knocks it down.
Not sure if Wyatt has the breath knocked out of him or he was fearful because he thought he was able to get his hand on the ball. As it turned out, he may have barely tipped it, but he took a very risky move inside, and the ball could well have been caught.
He may still be thinking about the ball that Cox caught for the touchdown in which he was beaten late in the first half. Almoya and Crawford split backs. There's Kevin. 3rd down and 6 from the 48-yard line. Van Raphorst. And incomplete. That's intended for Aaron Cox. Kevin Anderson, the man we talked about, the sophomore from Morrilton, Arkansas, was there to make sure he didn't get it done. So now Van Raphorst, who's 9 for 17, as you just saw, will go to the sideline on a 4th and 6, and Mike Shue, the punter, will come in. Bobby Joe Edmonds is back. And we'll let it go as the ball bounds at the 12. Now, Kyle, your thought on whether he should have come up on that ball?
Well, I think the ball was kicked so far to the wide side, I think he would have had to make a full-speed catch, and he decided the risk wasn't worth it. But that shows you the strength of Mike Shue, and one reason why they rate him so highly. He's one of the few true freshmen in the Pac-10 that is playing.
Arizona State 14, Arkansas 7. This is USA Bowl time as we give you an idea about what the weather's been like here this week. Absolutely magnificent. 70s to 80s, sunshiny, beautiful setting. Van Dyke and Derek Thomas, the running backs now, in that wishbone. And on the crack, they give it to James Rouse as Arkansas taking the ball from the 5-yard line. Dan Salamua and David Fulcher stopping the tackler, and that's James Rouse.
Well, this situation for Arkansas, they were behind to Baylor, to SMU, to A&M. This is nothing unusual for them to be able to have to come from behind, and I'm sure with that experience, they're not too panicked, at least at this moment.
John Cooper, he's an emotional sort of a fellow, while Ken Hatfield, his coaching adversary tonight, is more on the calm side. Edmonds, Thomas, there's Bobby Joe. And running more tonight, Kyle, out of that full bone rather than what we saw in the Houston game on USA when they broke the bone quite often.
And the breaking of the bone many times leads into more of a passing game, but I think they've made the decision, particularly in this part of the field, they're going to go to their strength, let everybody in the stadium here, Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego, know what they're going to do. And they're going to try to move the ball with what they do best.
Ken Hatfield upset about something. They've got a 3rd down and 1. For a moment, they thought they may have had the first down, but not so, with the clock moving at 8:15 to play here in the 3rd. Van Dyke, Rouse, and Thomas, the running backs. And Derek Thomas gets the carry. And coming up off the bottom that time was Frank Rudolph, the defensive end, number 99. He's 250 pounds from Scottsdale.
You know, what Arizona State is doing now is they're not playing straight defense. They're going ahead and angling. They're lining up off the nose tackles. And they're just making angled runs and penetrations, and that's why they're able to mess up the Arkansas blocking schemes right now.
They'll bring the sticks in to see if they got themselves the first down. Cal Cagney, if you're keeping tabs, and maybe might be questioning a little bit where he is, he's 5 for 9, 48 yards passing, while Van Raphorst is 9 for 17, 81 yards. And they get the first down. James Shebest coming in with a play. All Southwest Conference the last 2 years. Well, his numbers were cut down considerably this year, Kyle, but a reason for that, a healthy Donnie Centers available.
And Shebest, to his credit, has not complained about that too much.
Van Dyke, Thomas, and Rouse are the running backs. Cal Cagney, that's James Rouse. James Rouse! And out of bounds, knocked away by Scott Stephen.
Well, that's what Arkansas, that little move, being able to get on the outside, that's what they need to get their confidence back. Inside the dive. He goes off the outside pitch man, and Rouse has the speed. I thought perhaps he might have gone out of bounds earlier, but he turned it in clearly.
Those are the kind of runs that got that average up to 5.6 yards every time he carried the football during the regular season. 9 touchdowns, 8 rushing. As Kyle mentioned, the most ever by a freshman at Arkansas. He has 57 yards so far tonight. Cal Cagney trying to go deep, intended for Centers. And it's incomplete under the coverage that time of Eric Allen. Allen is a local San Diego product from Arizona State. And Cal Cagney will bring it back. And they'll go with a 2nd and 10. Ball on the 37-yard line.
Sure, after Arizona State saw the Houston film, Arkansas was able to hit Houston deep at least for 3 touchdowns and got behind them more times. Their secondary people for Arizona State are not going to dive in too much on the run.
Shebest and Luters are the wideouts. 2nd down and 10. Mark Cal Cagney. Bobby Joe Edmonds, the receiver. And ripped pretty good by Frank Rudolph and John Knight. Rudolph, a Pac-10 academic honor student.
Bobby Joe Edmonds flow to the other side. Quarterback has the option here. He's reading the cornerback. If the cornerback goes back, he's going to hit Edmonds then on the turn in, and the tackle comes out to try to provide the block.
Well, they got crushed pretty good over there in the far side. Brings up a 3rd down and 4, and there's Bobby Joe Edmonds coming off.
3rd and 4.
Edmonds is a senior from St. Louis, Missouri. Slightly injured. Thomas, Van Dyke, and Rouse are the running backs in the flex bone. And they'll give it to Derek Thomas. Sean Patterson, one of the down defensive linemen, a defensive tackle from Temple, Arkansas, stopped him right there. 4th down and 4. Unofficially.
4th and 2.
4th and 2 now, they're saying.
Got the punting team right up there on the sideline, perhaps for the quick punt. The time clock down to 15 seconds.
4th down and 2 official.
They're out there quickly. They've got less than 10 seconds to get the punt off. Trying to do that so Arizona State can't get their punt return team on the field. This is a normal Arizona State defense.
Horn, you saw his average. This time he gets away a good kick. And ASU is going to decoy and let it go into the end zone. So a 55-yard kick, and that average for Horn is starting to come back to respectability after a 23-yard punting average in the first half. 14-7, Arizona State leading Arkansas with 6:14 to play here in the 3rd period. College basketball gets back into full swing on USA starting January 2nd. Vanderbilt goes against Mississippi in the first in USA's Southeastern Conference games. Game time is 8 Eastern. Then a week later, we're off to the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland for some Big East action. Connecticut against Georgetown. That's January 8th, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Arizona State on the move. And on the give, it's Crawford. And Crawford right up the middle. So a pretty good gain that time by Crawford. Nick Miller, the linebacker, the hitter.
Crawford, the double team and the lead block. A tremendous block there by number 40, Vince Amoya, that set up that good pickup by Mike Crawford, which was good enough for the 1st down.
Anderson, Lasker, and Wyatt, 3 deep zone coverage for Arkansas. Crawford, the running back. Amoya is the fullback. Give it to Crawford again. Lasker had a shot at him, but it was Miller who rides him down and out of bounds. So it'll bring up a 2nd down situation. Yeah, I believe he got about 8 yards on that one, Kyle. He's had 84 yards and 14 carries so far tonight.
Well, they're picking up tremendous yardage on 1st down here against this Arkansas defense.
And now using Daryl Clack a little bit more. As Crawford goes out, Clack comes in. Van Raphorst, the quarterback. Calvin Williams jumped, no flags thrown. And Clack gets the call. David Basil, the hitter.
Ball carrier, number 42, Daryl Clack.
Clack's got a lot of talent, Kyle. He just wants to try his luck at the pro game, evidently. He's got over 2,600 yards career at Arizona State.
Well, may not be very smart this year. For example, if the USFL does go out of business, and who knows what's going to happen, or if there is a merger or something of that nature, there's going to be a lot of ball players trying to play those positions.
3rd down and 1. And they get the 1st down. Clack ridden down by Wyatt, but not before ASU continues to grind it a little bit, and they get another 1st down. 6-yard pickup for Daryl Clack. Arizona State now with 7 first downs rushing, 7 passing. Little consistency. That must make John Cooper happy. 14-7 is our score. We're in the 3rd, 4:25 and moving. Remaining in the quarter. Blocked. Good rush that time, as David Basil came in there and put a little pressure on. But it was Gerald Jones, the outside man, down position, that deflected the ball.
Say Basil is only 6 feet tall. He must have great jumping ability to be able to knock that one down. Of course, Gerald Jones, who you did say was the man who knocked it down, is 6'4".
Van Raphorst is 9 for 18 now. Harris and Amoya are the running backs. They got a shotgun. Nope. Yes, they do. And it's complete inside the 50 to Darrell Harris. David Dudley was right there. Harris might be the fastest of the Sun Devils. He is a 4'4" 40 man, and that is flying.
Well, I've got some other people. Paul Day and Clack also ran on the 400-meter relay team, so they got a bunch of people that can burn.
Van Raphorst will have Aaron Cox in the game for the first time. And they'll bring in Bruce Hill. There are some numbers. 1 interception, 1 touchdown. Shotgun again from the 49. And deflected again. Nick Miller was over on the coverage, intended for Jeff Gallimore, number 87, the tight end. So that means that Mike Shue is going to have to get a call with a 4th down and 4 from the 49-yard line.
Arkansas, I think, very fortunate defensively. They haven't put that much pressure on Van Raphorst. They've tipped a couple of passes, but nowhere near getting sacks.
Bobby Joe Edmonds is back to cover for Arkansas, but it'll go out of bounds, and it's inside the 20-yard line. And we will return with a 14-7 Arizona State lead in the 3rd. We're coming back.
Introducing the G-Shock 5200 watch from Casio. The sports watch that's ready for action with a built-in shock absorber. It's tough, so tough, this G-Shock can take a slap in the face and not even flinch. The G-Shock 5200, just one of Casio's water-resistant sports watches. It's one tough watch to beat.
My name is Jerry Davis from Odessa, Texas, and I lost 86 pounds in 4.5 months.
The Herbalife Opportunity Showcase. Watch people who decide to change their lives and succeed.
I lost 72 pounds in 4 months. I've been able to keep it off now for over a year, and I have more energy than I ever had and I ever dreamed I would have.
Herbalife.
Woo!
Opportunity Showcase at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on USA Tonight.
We're back in San Diego, and Arizona State with a 7-point lead with 3:27 to play in the 3rd here at the 8th Annual Holiday Bowl on USA Sports. Defensively, Arizona State will set up now, working against an Arkansas lineup that has Donnie Centers split out to the near side with James Rouse, Edmonds, and Miller in the backfield. Quarterback is Cal Cagney. And this is Bobby Joe Edmonds, and he tries to get it outside but can't. And quite frankly, Kyle, I've been impressed with some of the pursuit that the defensive line of Arizona has showed us here today. They've done a good job of containing that sometimes tricky offense of Arkansas.
And the only time that they've really broken down has been on that last part of the option where the cornerbacks have gone to the quarterback instead of staying with the pitch man. And I'm sure Coach Kenny Hatfield, that we're looking at right here, knows that a lot better than I do.
Hatfield trying to get his club moving. His club over the year had generated about 367 yards total offense on an average per game. And Cal Cagney under pressure that time, throws it intended for Luther Franklin and out of bounds. Sean Patterson was pressuring on the play.
Yeah, threw it away for sure. And that's the kind of play that maybe Greg Thomas might try to make the completion and perhaps risk the interception, where Cal Cagney, the senior, 5th-year senior, who for many years ran the scout team for Arkansas with his experience, does a smart thing and throws it into the almost into the stands.
You know, actually overall, throughout the year, the offensive line of Arkansas has really done a good job. Their quarterback has only been sacked 12 times. So they've given him good protection. The way they run that offense, they're hit and they're gone. And that's a quick hitting offense. This time they want to pass. Swing out, Bobby Joe Edmonds to the 30. And he started to get the speed underway before he was wrapped up by Greg Battle.
Well, that's exactly what we talked about earlier, trying to get Bobby Joe to the outside. As we've mentioned, he is their punt returner, though we haven't seen much of that today. Only one return for him with the punt. And to the outside, trying to look off the defense to the far side. But when you've got linemen coming out in front, like Callis, setting up that good block for Bobby Joe Edmonds, you know it's going to happen.
Bobby Joe, who's returned punts for almost 1,000 yards in his Arkansas career. That's a lot of punt returning, and does double duty as a running back and a pretty good receiver. Calcagney again on the first down. Gets the ball over the 40-yard line. Scott Stephen, outside man, or the devil back in the scheme defensively for ASU, made the tackle.
Well, there's what you want the quarterback to be able to do. Pick up at least 3-4 yards, hopefully 4 or 5 on the quarterback keeper to set yourself up into a 2nd and 5, or at the very worst a 2nd and 6 situation.
You don't really have a lot to look at if you're Arkansas trying to run against Arizona State, because they only gave up 126 yards a game. They're tough. You try and pass against them, you don't do that real well, so you've got to do what you do best, and that's that. And that's Bobby Joe Edmonds. David Fulcher, Billy Robinson combining on the tackle.
You know, so many times in college football we talk about critical third down situations, and on occasion players get lulled into believing that they've got to make the third downs pay, and thus they don't concentrate so much on 1st and 2nd down. Here Arkansas is faced with another one of those dilemmas, 3rd and short, and several times today they haven't been able to make it.
Yeah, like 7 of 13 have been converted, this time from the 45-yard line. They've got a 3rd down and 2. Calcagney, tremendous defense there by Billy Robinson. Oh, Arizona State with a big play when they had to have it.
Call him the rover back, really plays more strong safety. If the tight end blocks down, he comes up, and he not only came up, he got into the backfield that time and made the tackle.
So that means it's going to be time to kick. Robinson set it up, Horn to kick, and back by himself will be Anthony Parker at his own 19-yard line. Not much wind to deal with here, so that's not going to have any effect. Parker, fair catch calling at the 20, and that's where they'll spot it and play. A 39-yard kick as we go to the final 51 seconds of the 3rd quarter. And the ball spotted at the 21-yard line, or very close to it. Here comes Jeff Van Raphorst. Boy, this kid, they say, Kyle, could be the best ever. When you take a look at the people that have preceded, including a Mark Malone or a Pagel, both in the pros right now, Danny White, you got to say, hey, that's quite a feat. He's only a junior. Could have over 7,000 yards before he's done at ASU. Bruce Hill in motion. Give it a clack. Outside, can't get back to the line of scrimmage. And they batten down the hatches, and on the far side, Lasker, along with Kerry Crawford, stopped him.
Take a look at Nick Miller, 47, one of the inside linebackers. Here it is again, the man in motion. 42 Clack on the outside. Good penetration early on the inside, and that allowed the pursuit on the outside to be able to catch up.
14-7, 2nd down and 11. Ball on the 20. Arizona State with the ball in the lead. Shotgun. Gallimore was out of the play to the near side as Van Raphorst tried to hit Darrell Clack that time, and Nick Miller was over there to defend. So it's incomplete. I'm impressed with the way Arizona State uses their receivers. And they use their tight end a lot. I saw that time Gallimore drifting in a position where he was open, but they went instead to Clack. And now, for one of the first times tonight, Eric Bradford in defensively as a nickelback with 11 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. 3rd and 11. Complete. Bruce Hill, tackled by Otis Lloyd, the rover back.
Well, don't be surprised. Arkansas is not a blitzing or a stunning team, but they're not getting anywhere near Van Raphorst. He's sitting back there 5, 6, 7 seconds, has plenty of time, can step up and throw, and any good set of receivers are going to finally get open, even with all that secondary coverage. The Arkansas defense hasn't gotten to him, so they're going to have to try to blitz.
That's the end of the 3rd quarter. Arizona State still leads it 14-7 over Arkansas. Arizona State over Arkansas. Amoya and Clack will be the running backs, along with Van Raphorst, the quarterback. They'll have Stein Koss at a tight end. Bruce Hill and Aaron Cox will be the 2 wideouts in the ball game. The ball is on the 36-yard line, 1st and 10 ASU. Clack, midfield, and into Arkansas territory before Otis Lloyd made the final hit. Lots of punts in that third quarter, Kyle, 5 of them.
Let's take a look at some of the double teaming, and you see a tremendous hole being opened up on the inside by Kevin Thomas, the center. Clack goes in right behind it, and the linebacker's going with flow the other way.
A young offensive line, only one senior, David Finotti, the left tackle. Darryl Clack lining up with a tailback out of the eye. That offensive line has done a good job tonight. Clack gets the call. They really don't have much in the way of backup offensive linemen, so the people that are doing the job now have been in there all night long, so credit goes to them.
The backups, 4 of the 5 are freshmen, so.
Got a young team. In fact, on the offense, Kyle, only 3 when Clack is out there, 4 seniors all night long in the offense. The rest are juniors, sophomores, and freshmen.
Defense is about the same way, only 3 seniors.
Richard Brothers, Atwater, and Kevin Wyatt in that 3 deep zone coverage now as the deep backs for Arkansas. And Amoya trying to work behind the center and guard, gets very little running room. And so it's going to bring up a 3rd down situation. Gerald Jones will get credit for the tackle.
Well, he got penetration, got a handout. Had he not done that, it could easily have been another 1st down pickup.
We should mention here that Arkansas lost maybe their best defensive lineman in Raven Caldwell, who fractured a knee, a senior. He is here on the sidelines, but did not get a chance to participate in most of the season.
I think he's the reason that Rand Rapport has not been under pressure, because Raven Caldwell is a sack specialist.
Got some pressure that time, though, didn't he? And the ball was deflected by Calvin Williams.
As I mentioned, they can't afford to just rush with 4 people anymore. They're going to have to bring a lot more than that. On the outside, number 13, Calvin Williams, the junior, used to play defensive tackle, so he's used to that kind of penetration.
Bobby Joe Edmonds will be back deep. Horn to kick. And the ball hits on the near side and defended and finally touched there by Arizona State. So they'll put the ball in play after a 32-yard punt. We'll be right back, 14-7. From San Diego's Jack Murphy Stadium, where Arizona State holds a 14-7 lead over Arkansas. No scoring in the 3rd, we're in the 4th. 13-19 to play, 1st and 10 on the 16. Cal Cagney, and he pitches it back to Carl Miller, who tries to come to the short side of the field, and Eric Allen bumps him right there, and he goes not too far. Kyle, you know, interestingly enough, field position in the second half controlled by the punting game, whereas in the first game the punters could do nothing right. So we've had a complete reversal in at least one facet of the ball game.
Certainly have, and all we've had in the second half have been punts. 6 punts, 3 each team. Arkansas receiving the second half kickoff, now with their 4th possession.
2nd and 7. Ball on the 19. Cal Cagney. And there's that wishbone option quarterback, and he's run out over there by Greg Battle, a 222-pounder from California, a 4-year starter. That's quite a feat to be able to come away from your college career and say you started all 4 years.
Well, he kept fighting to try to get up to that 1st down marker, and we'll see if he did.
His inside linebacking buddy John Knight gives him a couple of high fives. Miller, Foreman, and Rouse are the running backs. Theo Young is checked in at a tight end. You know, talking about how close this game was, and we mentioned it right at the beginning, 1st downs, ASU 15, Arkansas 14, time of possession, one team 21, the other 24. Here's James Rouse. And over the 30-yard line, Rouse carrying the football. And Trace Armstrong, along with Anthony Parker, give him a little tandem tackle. There's our blimp and our captain, John Clayton. One of the Goodyear operators. Tremendous aesthetic view of Jack Murphy Stadium here in San Diego. Our thanks to Goodyear and Captain Clayton. What a beautiful shot, isn't it? And we hope it is a good year for you in 1986. 12:15 to play in the ball game. Rouse. Well, he's starting to carry the football quite a bit now. Rouse with 11 carries, but picking it up. Billy Robinson in battle with the tacklers.
Rouse has the kind of talent. He's got good speed, but he also has the juking ability, and he can sidestep you.
Has 66 yards in the ball game. Shebest checks in with a play and will split out to the near side. He replaces Luther Franklin. Thomas on a 2nd and 5. On the fake, they go to Rouse. So they fake it into the line to Derek Thomas, the fullback, and Anthony Parker. You know, Anthony Parker, for an ex-running back, hits pretty hard out there defensively.
Arkansas not getting the really big gainers. They usually, at this point in the game, have already broke at least 3 or 4 loose. One good pickup by Rouse earlier, but not a lot of 10 and 15-yard pickups on the pitch to the last back.
What's your philosophy, Kyle? I mean, we've talked about running games, passing games. Do you like to see a running game or a passing game in the college?
Well, I love to see passing if you don't have the strength to be able to run the ball. But when you take a flex bone, the flex bone to me, Eddie, combines the best of both worlds. You got to have good blocking scheme to be able to make it happen, but you also have the good passing off of it because it's so deceptive. And Bobby Joe Edmonds does a little hurdling action there.
Pretty good athlete,
yes,
huh?
He is.
David Fulcher's back in. He had a sore finger. In fact, jammed it in the first half, but he's in there playing with it right now. So Fulcher stopping Bobby Joe. 11:28. First down and 10 on the 49-yard line. Cal Cagney. And he'll give it over to the running back, Bobby Joe Edmonds, and stopped by Eric Allen. Not a lot of mistakes in terms of fumbles, pass interceptions. We've seen a few. And another thing that has been very apparent, not many penalties at all tonight. Sharp teams.
Talking earlier about the passing. Passing has been the great equalizer for most of the 1970s and the early 1980s with the new liberalized rules on how you can use your hands. But in the last year or two with Colorado, with Air Force, with Arkansas, the wishbone, the flexbone has come back into vogue.
Cal Cagney on a 2nd and 9 and swings it over to Edmonds, and he can't hang on. He started to look upfield. Sean Patterson pressuring on the pass.
Well, we had a naked swing pattern that time. If he had caught it, 2 Arizona State Sun Devils were right in his face. By the way, we congratulate Arizona State one more time for their tremendous attendance record. The attendance champs in the Pac-10 again. 4th straight year they've done that, averaging right about 65,000 fans a ball game.
Do a good job down at Arkansas also. They love their Hogs down in Arkansas. 3rd down and 9 on the 48. Derek Thomas is in. They are 8 for 15 on 3rd down situations. Complete! Bobby Joe Edmonds to the 24-yard line. Bobby Joe Edmonds. And tackle over here by Eric Allen. Greg Battle was also there.
Well, replay. Centers is going to clear out here so that Edmonds can come underneath. Centers going deep. Edmonds now makes the move to the sideline and trying to pick up on him. With that, you've got a linebacker, Greg Battle, and that's going to be always a mismatch.
So 9 for 16 on 3rd down conversions. Edmonds now 6 catches for 74 yards. Cal Cagney, and he spins his way inside the 20-yard line. Battle the tackler. Remember, Arkansas trailing by 7 with 10:10 to play in the ball game. Here at Jack Murphy, the Holiday Bowl on USA Sports.
Oh, they're getting pumped up over there on the sidelines, trying to turn it back into a hog heaven.
Hog heaven.
They can sense.
Hog heaven.
Yeah,
I've heard that one before.
That's what they call Razorback Stadium up there in Fayetteville.
You missed my line about the ham bone instead of the flex bone. 14-7, ASU over Arkansas. Cal Cagney, pitch it back at the last moment. Bobby Joe Edmonds for a touchdown.
Oh, boy.
And the disappointed look on one of the Sun Devil cheerleaders. Boy, you talk about execution on the pitch that time off of that flex bone.
Well, this is what we really talked about. He doesn't make too many mistakes. Cal Cagney forces the last pitch. And coming up there trying is Eric Allen, the cornerback. Cornerback has got to stay with the pitch man. And you've got to let Cal Cagney pick up the short gain as the cornerback. And right there is the look.
Boy, he's had a nice game, Kyle. Not only receiving, but running for the touchdown. That's his first touchdown of the year running.
Number 7 right there, Fulcher, is the man who's assigned the quarterback on that. and that's really the mistake of Eric Allen. Again, in his defense, they have not seen much option teams this year, and certainly not seen an option team like the Flexbone.
Actually, they've done a pretty good job of it.
Reading her lips, do you believe that? Thank you for at least being clean. So many times we have to apologize to the lip readers.
Ah, they got clean students down there at ASU. 14-13, Arizona State. You're late in the ball game. You have 9:37 to play. You're Ken Hatfield. You make the decision here.
Well, their team wants 10 wins. After they lost to A&M and they knew they weren't going to the Cotton Bowl, they set a new goal. That was to win 10 ball games. If they tie it up, they don't win 10 ball games.
That was some signal that they just relayed from the ASU bench. Defensive signal, and they're going to go for the 2, and that was the decision we talked about. 9:37 to play. Did he get there? He did!
Oh boy, I tell you, the ball got there. His headgear might have not have gotten there. His shoulders, I don't believe, got close to the goal line, but he held out the ball. A la basketball, going for the jam. Let's look. The fullback dive is the first fake through. And here comes Cal Cagney over the top. There's the ball in his hands.
Oh my.
And he reaches over the goal line.
What a gutsy call by the Arkansas bench. They've gone ahead by 1, 15-14.
Watch.
14, and that young man, Bobby Joe Edmonds, has had a terrific night here in San Diego. It's the Holiday Bowl, and it's on USA, coming your way across the nation. One of our many bowl games we're featuring this year. Kendall Traynor on the run-up. Darryl Clack is back now with Chip Risch. And it's Clack. He's going to try and run it out.
He's a big play man.
And he gets back to the 20 and maybe the 21-yard line. I don't know if I'd have made that decision, Kyle, but he got there.
Well, they need to perhaps take some risks. Chip Risch back there pleading with him not to leave the end zone.
I'd have taken that plea. I'd have gone right down on one knee and say, hey, put it at the 20. I didn't give him much chance as Van Raphorst comes back. Keep in mind, only a 103-yard game passing so far.
That's the first time they've put Clack in there to return kickoffs all season long. Crawford, the normal kick returner back there, so.
Ball at the 21. Amoya and Crawford are the running backs. And on a give, breaking up over the left side is Crawford. Basil, the linebacker from Panama City, who redshirted in '83 but came back, made the tackle. There's some of the guys from ASU. Salamua is the big man on the far side. And some of his mates. Crawford now 92 yards rushing on 15 carries. Amoya and Crawford 2nd and 2 for a first down. That's Amoya. He's got the first down and then some. And he's at the 35. Basil, the linebacker, stopping him.
Plenty of time for the Sun Devils. And they have made some long drives today. The opening field goal was a 79-yard drive. They have the confidence that they can do it.
But so close, Kyle. And again, coming back to reinforce the point we made right at the top. Close game. All the statistics close so far. And we're right down now to the final 8:45 of the ball game. And Arkansas with a 1-point lead. That's Crawford. And now they're starting to do some running. Greg Lasker, the safety, along with Kevin Anderson, making sure he doesn't go any further than he did. Danny Villa had a tremendous block. He might be their best offensive lineman, 277-pound junior from Nogales, and they love the way he plays the game.
You know, we were talking with Coach Cooper yesterday. There was no question, Eddie, when you asked him that question, who is the best lineman? So many times coaches will say, well, 2 or 3 guys are good or this and that. I mean, he went right to Danny Villa.
2nd and 4, ball at the 41-yard line. Hill in motion. And Amoya over the middle gets 4 yards. Vince Amoya.
Tell you what, if I'm Kent Bostrom, the field goal kicker for Arizona State, I'm getting real nervous at this point.
Yeah, because he has had the opportunity to bail them out on more than one occasion this year, and he has not delivered. Although, tonight, 2 field goals, and those are big, big numbers right now. A 47-yarder, his longest, and a 22-yarder in the first half.
That's always, what did you do for me this quarter, not what did you do for me last.
But They would have loved to have had him make that 22-yarder in the Arizona game, because that would have sent him to the Rose Bowl.
Drove all the way to the 5-yard line, not much more than an extra point kick.
Kevin Anderson, Lasker, and Wyatt, the deep secondary. 3rd down and 1. Van Raphorst. And another first down, complete to Jeff Gallimore, the tight end.
Well, this is where Arkansas does give up yardage, in the midfield area. On short yardage, the dive fake. Outside, he's got 2 receivers out. The tight end is there, makes a good catch. Very clean, safe play.
And the ball is inside the 45-yard line. They're at the 44 with a 1st and 10 and 7:30 to play. White, Basil, Miller, and Dudley are the linebackers for Arkansas. Van Raphorst. Complete. Aaron Cox to the 15-yard line. Kevin Anderson, the tackler, but they finally unloaded their big play man again. 29 yards.
Ran a very simple post pattern. Got Anderson to back up and then broke it to the inside. He's only looking at one receiver the whole way. And you see coming in late is Greg Lasker, who had moved up on the play action and was out of position.
Aaron Cox with a tight end, or I should say with the touchdown in the first half, and another big catch right here. On the give, they go to Crawford. Calvin Williams from Greenville, Texas, made the stop, and Arizona State has got it going now. Under 7 minutes to play in the ball game, and they trail it by 1.
Well, they're inside the 10. In essence, they have 7 downs to score a touchdown because they're only 4 yards from another first down.
Crawford now with 106 yards on 17 carries. This time he doesn't get too far. David Basil stopping Crawford. Gerald Jones helping out on the tackle. And the clock will continue to tick. It's down to 6:25 in this 8th annual Holiday Bowl. Arkansas with a 1-point lead as they go for 2, and they get it done. John Cooper, his first year at Arizona State, his 9th year as a head coach after 14 years as an assistant. And he said his feet still haven't touched the ground over the ASU job. He loves it. Van Raphorst, good pressure. Number 99 was right there. That's Rodney Beecham. Well, on 12 times coming into this game, Kyle, they had stopped the opponents behind the line of scrimmage in 1 game. New Mexico State.
That we saw very quickly on the replay. What happened there is Van Raphorst went the wrong way, and John Cooper is saying that. Van Raphorst, it looked like a naked bootleg. It wasn't that at all. He had Mike Crawford in front of him blocking on the opposite tackle.
4th down and 6, so it's going to be Bostrom. 28-yard attempt. Little off angle. In the air, good! Bostrom has done it again. And what has feared John Cooper the most has come out to be the best. His kicking game. 3 field goals and a 2-point ASU lead.
Energizer Halogen. A light so bright, so white, no ordinary light can match it. The Energizer Halogen flashlight.
23 seconds to play in the 8th annual Holiday Bowl. It's another close one. Not as high a scoring game as they've had in the past, but 17-15. Arizona State just taking the lead on the 3rd field goal of the night by Kent Bostrom.
This is so much fun. This is great. You've got a game coming down to 2 parts of the games for the teams and the coaches that they always want to be strong points, the field goal kicking. Just a great defensive battle. Very entertaining despite the low score.
Kick is coming back. And taken by Bobby Joe Edmonds. Good kick coverage by Arizona State, and he gets back to about the 18, maybe the 19-yard line. So Edmonds has not been able to unload any big runs either, and that time Larry McLaughlin, a defensive lineman, was down under the kick. Yeah, it has been terrific, Kyle, no question. 10 plays, 68 yards, 414, Bostrom. He has a 22, a 47, and now a 28-yard field goal. And he was the man that they doubted most. McClendon, Patterson, Armstrong, McLaughlin, Rudolph across the front line defensively. Foreman, Van Dyke, and Rouse are the running backs in the bone. Cal Cagney, the quarterback. And Robinson on the stop. Kyle, the outside man, or the man defensively covering the pitch man, has done a good job all night long staying disciplined to make sure he maintained his fix on that man that might be getting the pitch back.
With the one exception of that last touchdown that Rouse had, he's been able to do that, and that's something that was really feared by Coach John Cooper. They hadn't seen that, and he normally wants his cornerbacks to crash the ball to provide support and to go where the action is. Here they're having to lay back a little bit, and that's a totally different defensive strategy for them.
It's a 2nd down and 4, 26-yard line, 4:35 to play in the game. Arkansas trails by a pair. And Marshall Foreman, the fullback, trying to go to the middle. Did not get the first down. Larry McLaughlin on the stop. Now go right along with what we just talked about. John Cooper said eventually he wants to get assignment people who can ride with the assignment. He feels right now he has reactionary football players, and that's why he feared that they might immediately go to the ball instead of staying disciplined and covering that pitch man and exposing themselves.
They certainly haven't given up in as many big games as I expected.
3rd down and 2, first down. Derek Thomas gets the first down for Arkansas. Scott Stephen, the hitter. Two finely tuned teams.
Fullback in there, if he sees he's got some space, he really holds on to the ball and almost pulls it out of Cal Cagney's hands. If he doesn't grab hard, and if Cal Cagney sees that the pitch man is going to be open, he'll pull it back out.
They have the full bone. Ball on the 36-yard line. And again, trying to stay on the ground, Derek Thomas, Skip McClendon, Greg Battle. McClendon, a 264-pounder from the Detroit area, and Battle from Wilmington, California.
Clock beginning to be a factor now. 3 minutes and 30 seconds. About 62 yards to go to touchdown territory, and they can't waste too much time here.
17-15. Arizona State with 3:21 to play. Derek Thomas, number 40. Cal Cagney to pass. James Rouse. And he shakes his man and then stumbles to the 40-yard line before Scott Stevens stops him. But the clock continues to roll, Kyle, and they're still not in great field position.
Well, when the linemen come out to the outside, the defense reacts quickly, and they're over there. Not too much finesse as they came out trying to block on that. Chris Paquette out there, 65, the guard, and when they break out to provide some support to that screen, the Arizona State defense was there.
Cal Cagney on a 3rd and 5. Big time for a 3rd down pass. Good! Bobby Joe Edmonds.
Catch. Oh!
Diving on a play they had to have at the 38-yard line. Oh, what a call for a team that doesn't like to pass. 3rd and 5, and they get it.
And Edmonds coming out of the backfield here. The wide receivers, again, going deep. This is the sideline pattern earlier. You see centers, number 1, taking the cornerback deep. Terrific catch on the sidelines with that curl out.
That was a pro catch right there. Edmonds, Thomas, Van Dyke. They fill out the wishbone or the flex bone or the ham bone, whichever you prefer. 10 for 17, Cal Cagney rides his man right into the line and then keeps. And John Knight, the linebacker, makes the stop with 2:30 to play in the game. And Arkansas trailing by a pair. And a timeout called by Arkansas, one of their 3 in the second half. So we have a timeout. And it's Arizona State with a 2-point lead and 2:24 to play in the ball game. We're at Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego. Don't go away now. Last here with USA Tonight, Eddie Doucette, Kyle Rowe Jr., and our USA College Football 85 crew in San Diego. And the Holiday Bowl is our site. 17-15. Arkansas trailing by a pair. They have the ball on the 36. 2nd down and 7. James Rouse inside the 35-yard line. Jim Reynosa and Greg Battle stop him there, but the clock continues to move.
2:12 left, 2 timeouts left for Arkansas. And Arizona State players are going to take plenty of time getting up. And now a quick snap as we're taking a look at Kendall Traynor, who's the field goal kicker.
3rd down and 4, Kyle. This is a big play right here. Rouse outside. 2nd effort, 3rd effort, down inside the 30-yard line. He needed 4. I do not think he got it. Battle, Knight, and Fulcher.
It's going to be short about a yard.
This is a tough call if they bring in Traynor. He was not the starting field goal kicker at the beginning of the year. The punter, Greg Horn, was. His longest field goal was 47 yards. And that was the first field goal he tried as a college performer, and that was in a USA game against Houston. We had that one, and of course we made remarks at the time. This kid may have it. Since that time, he was 4 for 9. Not great.
And this field goal will be 46 or 47 yards if they take it from here. The ball spotted on the 30-yard line.
They're going to bring in Freddie Childress now, just to make sure that he's in there to block. And we'll tell you right here that Arkansas has no timeouts remaining. Don't forget that USA has a continuing menu of bowl games for you. Kyle and I will be at the Freedom Bowl in Anaheim. That'll be coming up on the 30th. That's an important one to keep in mind. And then the next day we'll have the Bluebonnet Bowl and then the North-South game, and that'll be in January. Check your local time and listings, and remember that USA Sports will be at all of them as College Football 85 continues right here on USA.
And as Arkansas has made the decision to go for it.
4th down, less than a yard. Edmonds, Thomas, Rouse. Edmonds gets the call. Reynosa gets the tackle. I believe they've got a first down. What a game Bobby Joe Edmonds has played. He's been everywhere.
Well, they're going to go to the airwaves, but not the airwaves with the pass, the airwaves with the diving Bobby Joe Edmonds as he leaps over the crumpled Sun Devil defense to pick up the first down.
Kyle, remember, they have no timeouts remaining. We have 1:37 to play. Cal Cagney. And here more than ever, they must protect the football. Patterson, Knight, and Battle all combining on the tackle. And again, we're winding down to another Holiday Bowl type finish. Deep breaths all over the place. Edmonds, Thomas, Rouse, they're the running back. And anxious John Cooper on the sideline for Arizona State. He only gave up an average of 11.7 as they try and go the outside. We'll check that. That was Rouse, tackled by McClendon. A little over 13 points a game during the season. And now he's going to have to find a way to stiffen again. 17-15. 51 seconds to play in the game. And we'll remind you that Herbalife will be seen in its entirety immediately following this football game on USA. Stay with us. Bobby Joe Edmonds, Derek Thomas, and James Rouse are the running backs. 3rd and 4 on the 22-yard line. They're trying to get it into a good field position now, as Cal Cagney on a quarterback keeper stopped by John Knight. And now with 25 seconds, here comes Kendall Traynor. Ball is on the 22-yard line.
Arizona State is going to take the timeout. Give Traynor some more time to think about things.
Big kick for this young man. Well, I watched him in practice the other day, Kyle, and he was very active. It's a different ball game when you come out here and try and do it in game conditions with a lot on the line like this. Good timeout by Arizona State.
Be about a 35-yard attempt.
And we'll take a break. It's 17-15, Arizona State. We're winding down to the close.
From an ancient monastery.
Where did you find these?
Let's make a deal. To the wild jungles of Mexico.
We are planning an expedition.
Simon McCorkindale chases the robbers of the Sacred Mountain on the USA Movie at
8-15. Arizona State but Arkansas with a 37-yard attempt coming. A little off center, kicking to the right. Kendall Traynor. 4 for 9 in the air. Looks good. Good.
One more time, Kendall Traynor, the freshman from Fredonia, Kansas, came to Arkansas because they had a great baseball program. Has perhaps won the Holiday Bowl for the Razorbacks on the football field.
How important has the field goal kicking been tonight? And how much in suspect were both field goal kickers coming in? Traynor, who was 4 for 9 regular season, Bostrom, who certainly had his problems. The young man who is a freshman from Wheaton, Illinois, was 15 of 21, but he missed the big ones, and he had 3. Trainer has the one that right now has his team on top, 18-17, with 21 seconds to play, and another unbelievable finish for the Holiday Bowl. Every year it's the same thing. While we have this opportunity, my thanks to some very excellent people who have worked with us, including our statistician Jan Chapman, our spotters Hank Kelly and Richard Waninger, and they've done a terrific job. And now John Cooper will try and get something done in the final 21 seconds, or else swallow another bitter pill on the heels of the Arizona loss. Deep. That's Clack. To the 30. And pumped out of bounds at the 37-yard line.
Did not want to risk Clack returning kicks early on in the season, but here when they have only time left, they're going to go ahead and do it.
And the man that kicks off, Kendall Trainer, makes the saving tackle.
Well, Kendall Trainer's got to be in literal hog heaven now. He is down there. He's playing with every bit of adrenaline that there is as he is on a cloud after making that field goal.
I'm going to put him up there in big hog heaven. He will start for the Arkansas baseball team in center field, but he'll start again. Here's a kicker next year, I'm sure. Hill, Dave, Cox, they've got all their wideouts and all their speed in the game. Van Raphorst on a turnout. And complete over here to the near side to Aaron Cox. Kevin Wyatt runs him out. 9 seconds to play in the football game. Remember our halftime feature? BYU. Don't lose sight of it.
Remember last year, BC Miami, it took 2 passes for Flutie to get the ball into the end zone. The first one to get him into the distance where they could go to the end zone, and we're about the same spot on the field for Arizona State.
9 seconds to play. 18-17 Arkansas with a 1-point lead. They've yo-yoed the lead here in the 4th quarter after a scoreless 3rd quarter. Rapid departure from the first half here. A little bit more open, more exciting. And error-free football, and a good game that it has been. Both teams have played well. There's Big Danny Villa. You know, I have to say this. You don't really get a chance to play credit to offensive linemen, defensive linemen. I think Arizona State's offensive line, without any substitution help at all, have been terrific tonight.
What a tremendous game. Again, Arkansas not the best pass rushing team, but it doesn't make any difference. They've opened the holes when they've needed the yardage on the ground. They've given Van Raphorst the time he needs, not just on the last pass, but all night long to get the ball off.
And now it comes down to the final 9 seconds. Maybe one final play, depending upon what they decide to do right here. Shell, Cherico, Beecham. They have 3 down linemen for Arkansas. They're bringing everybody else in there to try to defend against the big pass with Cox, Bruce Hill, Gallimore, and Paul Day, all their best wideouts in the game for ASU. Jeff Van Raphorst, good time.
Threw it underneath.
Almost incomplete, but that should kill the clock with 3 seconds. Otis Lloyd was right there as they went to Paul Day.
Well, they've set up as if they were going to the end zone twice, but twice they've come off of it with a variation. The first time they picked up the big yardage. Here they're going to set up a field goal with just a long gain, not going for the end zone, and it's an incomplete pass.
Kent Bostrom has come on. Paul Day, incidentally, is a local San Diego product. He was the man that had the open pass and dropped it against the Arizona team that would have put them in the Rose Bowl also, and has not played up until this last couple of plays here tonight. Bostrom, prior to tonight, 15 of 21 as we'd mentioned, but he's had 3 big field goals here tonight. This will be a 59-yarder. Remember, as I said, no wind here at Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego, so it's strictly his toe against whatever kind of a rush that Arkansas can put on.
And remember, the longest he's ever had was the field goal he kicked here tonight, the 47-yarder. Had a 46-yarder earlier in this season.
Watch for Kevin Wyatt. He's number 7 on Arkansas. He's the designated kick blocker, and he'll usually put a pretty good rush on. He's lining up on the outside down left. Let's see what happens. They got their blocking set up to that side. It's on the way.
Not enough.
And not enough. And it's over. It's over. And Arkansas has won the 8th annual Holiday Bowl before over 50,000 fans here at Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego. A tremendous come-from-behind fourth quarter, 18-17 final. We'll be right back. We'll wrap it up and have a final word after finish. 18-17, Arkansas beats Arizona State, and the kicking game took over in the second half.
Well, the irony, Eddie, it was a field goal by Arizona that kept Arizona State out of the Rose Bowl. A field goal by Arkansas tonight wins it for the Holiday Bowl. And as classic as this game was, the best class I think I saw was on the field as Arkansas players went up to Kent Bostrom, the field goal kicker for Arizona State, and in sympathy, congratulated him, surrounded him, let him know that it was okay, because he did have a great night, 3 for 4 in field goals. It wasn't his fault.
Well, it was another one of those finishes, and they can rewrite the script again. It's unbelievable what they do year in and year out here at the Holiday Bowl. We have more college football coverage coming up for you on USA. And again, we'll remind you that on December 30th, Kyle and I are up north in Anaheim, and we'll bring you the Freedom Bowl when the Huskies of Washington take on the Buffaloes of Colorado. Game time, 8 o'clock Eastern. Then on December 31st, the Blue Bonnet Bowl from Houston. It's Air Force's Academy taking on the Longhorns of Texas. Game time at 2:30 Eastern. And finally on January 18th, North meets South in one of college football's oldest all-star games, the Senior Bowl, and a 1 o'clock start. College football continues on USA Sports. Most valuable offensive player, Bobby Joe Edmonds. Most valuable defensive player, Greg Battle. Some ball game. Tonight's Holiday Bowl was brought to you by Mobil 1 Synthetic Motor Oil. Mobil 1 protects your engine better than any other conventional motor oil. And by Jeep Cherokee, the four-wheel drive vehicle that's all Jeep, body and soul. Sports coats provided by Tailored Classics from Levi Strauss & Company. Once again, final score, the Holiday Bowl. It was Arkansas 18, Arizona State 17. For Kyle Rote Jr., this is Eddie Doucette wishing you a good night from the Holiday Bowl in San Diego, California. Executive producer of USA Sports is Jim Zrake. Our producer, Gary Dubin. Our coordinating producer, Stephen Feder. Our associate producers, Kevin Landy and Tim Rapley. Our production coordinator tonight was Barbara Travers. And our executive in charge of production was Dick Ross. College Football 85 is a presentation of USA Sports.